Hi.
Hello.
Classic comedy. Welcome to episode 7 of the Ape Audio Podcast, where we have free-range, grain-fed artists from Ontario come in and talk about what they're into. We're sitting down today with Danger Liker.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, geez, you guys are really into it.
I'm Christian.
So into it.
That's Patrick.
Hey!
We got Devin over there on the boards.
Hi guys.
Hi, Devin.
Sorry about that error.
That's okay.
Nobody knows.
Blame me personally.
Get to work, Devin.
Nobody knows.
And then, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
I hate introducing myself.
Okay.
That's
It's a
Chris.
strange name.
Yeah.
My essence has no
That's a
limit.
long one.
Okay.
I am Ian.
You look familiar.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so this is a special episode. As most of you guys, I'm sure, are aware, Ian is part of our podcast. But for today, he is sitting down as the engineer, the producer, the lead guitarist of Danger Liker.
That's me.
Yeah. So you guys
Maybe.
actually want to introduce
I
yourself?
actually might be me.
All right. My name's Adam. I'm in Danger Liker 2. I do the vocals, and I make some songs on Guitar Pro that we play sometimes.
Cool.
There's a Danger Liker too?
High energy.
you
High
have to do
energy,
mine,
as you can
Christian.
see.
Okay. I have to do his introduction. This is Evan Reinhardt. He plays the drams. He just bought a new cymbal today. $300 cymbal.
More.
That's super
Wow.
cool.
Give us
I don't
some
know what it
specifics.
does.
It's not cool to spend that much
You
money
don't know what
on
it
stuff.
does?
No.
Mysterious features on the
You,
shoes.
you hit it with stuff.
It
and
has
makes a big
pockets.
sound. And
Word.
it makes people plug their
These
ears.
buttons on the side.
true.
I don't know what those are about.
Where do you plug it in? What kind of
Why
music
don't
do
you
you guys
bend
make?
over and I'll show ya?
It's aight.
We make.
You just make okay music.
Yeah, it's alright.
It's one of my favorite genres.
It's it's post-ironic pizzacore. That's
Okay.
the
Yeah.
that's the official
Who thought of that?
definition.
Rick?
Yeah, Rick.
Well, sort
Yeah,
of.
it's kind of Rick.
I think we thought Rick would think of that.
True.
Who the fuck is
He
Rick?
called a lot of our stuff post-ironic.
Yeah, he
Rick
did.
is a Polish physicist. He's a brilliant man. He
Polish
also named one of the songs on our new album, which will be called "Psychedelic Mosquito Moses."
Actually, no. Adrian named that actually.
Did he?
Oh,
really? Interesting.
Yeah, you gotta check yourself
Someone
before
else
you
told me
wreck
it was-
yourself on stream.
Well, no.
Boss.
Let's get the facts out there. Let's get them
Mr.
straight.
Adrian Webster.
Adrian Webster.
well, goddamn.
Okay.
Shout out to Adrian
You know
Webster.
what? I'm gonna go ahead and blame Ian for telling me that it was
All right.
Yeah.
I'll take the full blame.
Yeah, he's done a lot of bad things.
volleyball the blame around.
No, that's
Shitty
not
mic
quite the bad
arms.
thing.
Fuck
I broke
it.
the ragu jar last week.
Shit.
Oh,
Jesus
man.
Christ!
I'm just
bro.
all over the place, guys.
Bought
Come
a
on.
shitty
You gotta figure
computer.
it out.
All right, so the way we kick this shit off, I don't know if you guys have tuned into any of the episodes, but we do kind of like a musical onboarding, a musical history of yourselves, like a little crash course. So, like, you tell us your first kind of musical memory. You tell us a turning point for you where you heard something and it clicked with you, and then it kind of inspired you to go down like a different path musically, and then you kind of tell us where you're at right now. Ian doesn't really have to participate because we did one of these when we first started the show a couple weeks ago, unless
It's probably
his has
I'll do
changed.
it again.
probably-
Why
Okay,
not,
okay,
guys?
yeah.
Why not?
Okay, yeah, we could do
Yeah,
it
let's see
again.
if he was lying the first time.
Probably
Yeah,
was.
Yeah,
we'll cross-reference.
Study up.
Yeah, study it.
Let's get the facts straight.
Do your
So,
That's the
homework.
whole point.
Okay, well,
Let's
do you
just
want to
get it on
start?
record.
Do you want to start, Ian?
Well, I want to start.
Yeah, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to do kind of like I'll start and then we'll all each have
Yeah,
our
do
first
like
turning
you'll
point?
each do your first, each do your second,
All right.
each do where you're at now.
All right, cool.
Cool.
So, when we go back to the earliest, I kind of remember I said something else, but then I remembered my earliest memory was
Liar.
listening to
Yeah,
a Shakira CD in my parents' car on the way to like going on a camping trip or something like that, and it was the only thing in the car. And I remember like that was the first thing that I was kind of like, well, I got nothing else to listen to with this Walkman that I got randomly, so I started listening to it. And I remember that was the earliest memory of me like listening to like music and being like, oh, music has like melody and all these different kinds of things that
Were you
I want to
dancing
seek
around
out.
the
And
campground?
oddly enough, it was that.
Shakira. How many times did
hips
you
don't lie.
re-listen to that record over this camping trip?
I don't know.
That was the only thing
feel
you
like,
had.
I feel like it was it was kind of, you know that thing when you like kind of soak in an album, when you like listen to the whole thing once, then you kind of like nitpick at certain songs, you repeat, and then you start going to other songs. It's kind of like I did that kind of transition thing, so I kind of listened to it in
so
full
you really broke
like,
down the Shakira experience.
Whenever
That's
song
so
is
great.
really speaking to me right now. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, that was
Well,
That's
pretty
where
good.
you got your dance moves from, huh?
It shows
Definitely.
Definitely
Yeah.
shows.
some truthful hits.
All right, you want to pass it down to Adam?
Sure. So, my earliest musical memory is listening to Rush that our dad showed us at a house friggin' like a street away from here.
Cool.
Yeah, we were in the basement, and he put on Tom Sawyer, and yeah, I just remember like, you know, like doing the thing where you like close your eyes and put your hands in there, and you see a bunch of trippy closed eye visuals without drums. Yeah, that's just the best. So I remember doing that and like seeing these hills with like waves of like of color going through them, and you know, just yeah, that song always feels like green waves of color hills for me now.
That's
And it
pretty
always
cool.
not now. I shouldn't say it like it just happened. I was like fucking, I don't know, like
Right, but
four,
do you
and
still
probably
still
two.
feel that way when you listen to that tune?
Yes,
Like,
it's a good song. It
Cool.
feels like green hills of colors. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. I'll say it. I don't give a damn.
don't give a dang. So, like, because of that experience, are you ever jealous of people who experience like synesthesia, like where they can like see sound?
Yeah.
Do you think that's actually a real thing?
I definitely think it's a real thing.
Why do you think that's a
I
real
think to
thing?
an
I
extent.
feel like there's too many
Yeah.
documented cases of it for it to not.
But I
be
think
a
it's
real
more
thing.
subtle things. It's like, you know, when you...
Yeah, I don't think
when
it's like
you-
anybody's like banging out a tune and
Yeah.
like their visual spectrum is just so like over cluttered with like
Yeah.
just
not like a
shit
Paul
that's
Bennett
not
video.
there.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what the guy from Blood Orange says.
It's
He
too
has-
much. It's too much. Like wow, it's like overpowering.
Yeah.
Cool.
How do
I guess.
chords work though? You know,
Yeah.
What do you mean?
like with synesthesia, like synesthesia.
Oh, so I think because people, you know,
chords are like multiple notes at once, right?
yeah, and people associate it with like a color. I think I was watching like a Rick Beato video about it, and he was saying that depending on how stacked the chord is with like this many intervals, will determine how like it's like blending colors. Like it just turns brown eventually, but it's not to say that, you know, there's beauty in the
shit
in the
mix.
brown.
Fair enough.
Beauty
That's
in the
cool.
brown.
Beauty in the Brown, title of our next album.
Yeah. Beauty in the brown. You heard it here first.
And then what about you, Evan? Like, what was the first shit you were getting into? Was it like the same as Adam or?
It's weird because it is the same. Like it would probably be Rush for me. It was like the first like big band, but it was much later.
Mhm.
Like when Adam's talking about, I was probably like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I don't really remember that,
Yeah.
but definitely like when
You were
Two or
Yeah.
two or three
Yeah.
rocking out to
Yeah.
Rush.
You're tripping balls without you.
So yeah, I don't really remember anything.
2-year-olds are
Obviously,
drunk.
of that shit. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it was like when my dad lived in Toronto. He would drive us home on Sunday nights, and we would pretty much listen to YYZ by Rush on repeat, like the entire fucking way home, like nonstop.
That's a good dad.
Like every time, and we were like, "Oh, let's see how many we can listen to this time," and shit. And it's like, "Oh, it's like this many YYZs away from like whatever." It was fucked. But like, I remember like having never sat behind a drum kit before, but just like trying to figure out what was going on. It just made me want to play so bad.
Sure, I feel like that's
and it
the
just
perfect
gave me like
record
the
to get you into
crazy
wanting to be a drummer.
Yeah, it was like insane. And then like, I was basically relentless on my parents until there was drums in my house.
Cool.
So yeah.
So
was like,
were,
that was like the thing
were
that got
both
me
your
into
parents
drums,
like
yeah.
encouraging musically, or was it just like
Yeah.
one or the other? Both of them were.
Yeah, both.
Cool.
And like we both took guitar lessons for
Right.
a year.
Right.
You took guitar lessons?
I did.
Do you know how to play any guitar?
I can play a bit.
You can play that. You can play the
King of the
Uncollected by
Hill.
Monuments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that you guys
I
both
just
started out taking guitar lessons together, and then you got like a 4-pad like practice set. Was it like an electric set?
yeah.
And it could play like dog and duck noises and
Oh,
shit.
it sure could. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And did you like try any other instruments, or did you just go to
I
like,
just went right
drums
to
straight from
drums.
guitar?
Yeah.
What about you? What did you go to?
Guitar pretty much the whole time, and yeah, eventually kind of got into bass when other people were like, well, Josh is probably the reason I got into bass, is because he started playing guitar around the same time as me, and was way better than me, way faster than me. And I was like, you know, maybe we need a bass player. Maybe I'll be the only person I know who does that, and therefore will be, you know. Anyway, so yeah, that was a good time. And then I started branching out from there. And no one ever wanted to sing, so that's how that came about.
Right.
And
right.
I'm not sure I want to sing even ever, but
it's funny
just
how
sorta
many
happened.
vocalists I've heard say that though. Like they
Yeah.
just kind of took on the role because nobody else would, or nobody else had like a decent voice, and you're just like, okay, I guess I'm just being shoehorned into this now. Is that how you feel?
Yeah, singing sucks. No,
But we
no,
love
I'm
it.
just kidding. I like it too. It's fun, but it's I don't know. As
Do the short
Devin
straw.
Townsend once said, it's, you know, it'd be nice to maybe make the vocals and have someone else do it and play bass instead.
Right.
But
Okay, well, I heard that your music instructor encouraged you to play like other instruments, like the cello, and like really pushed you to start training your vocals.
what?
Cello.
Nerd awareness over here. Watch your profanity.
Is that real? Is that real? Were you shredding the cello?
Friggin' Dan Forsey. Yeah, Dan Forsey got us into some mad cool stuff. It was a stand-up bass. He showed me a bit of cello, but like not enough to like play very much. But
Right.
some stand-up bass though, which is bigger than the cello and it's
Interesting.
the same shape. But yeah, he got us into tons of cool stuff. He was like, he taught us how to be a band. We went in for band lessons with that guy. He was the best.
What did
And,
he teach you there?
Well, how to, you know, keep your shit together with everyone else and not like play over each other. And a really important thing is how to not play while people are talking in between songs, because that would just devolve. It would just be everyone just playing like a little riff or something at the same time. He'd be like, all right. You know, in a very nice way though. He was very gentle about it. Not even to the point that I just did, where I was like, all right. You know, it wasn't like that. He'd be like, and yeah, and so valuable lessons across the board from Dan the Man.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks,
He
Dad.
like he
prepare for
kind of
a show.
encouraged you guys to start like your first band, and you guys went and performed for Sun Life Idol.
Oh,
Yo, Sun Idol.
What?
And
I
you
forgot
fucking
about
won?
that.
Yo,
What? We won? We won? No. What? Really?
I was told that
think
you
we
won.
did. Yeah, no, we did.
Actually?
Yeah. Did you hit up our mom or something?
Maybe.
What?
You're a danger liker. We have to know.
I don't even.
Ba-boom.
I don't even remember winning that.
I think we did it, and like, you know, we know Steph Blackwell now later in life, who was second place, and I always would say like, you should have fucking beaten us. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
you could play your song. Like, we kind of could, but like, you know,
Yeah.
Maybe it was all in the
painful to
energy.
do
Maybe
that.
you guys had the energy. Just
Oh,
not the technical, not the
no,
technical
Definitely
prowess.
not. I'm pretty sure it's on
No.
video somewhere,
Cute
unless I
energy.
Yeah,
destroyed
no,
it.
the DVD's still downstairs. We have it.
Oh
That's
no!
hilarious.
You
That's
shouldn't have said
hilarious.
that.
At least you're small and cute looking. I look like a dumb, angsty, like 13-year-old. Like you look small enough and cute enough to get away with it. Like, and you also were really good. You didn't wear like friggin'. I'm back to wearing bandanas on my body again. But no eyeliner this
You're
time.
regressing.
Roast himself.
Oh my god!
I'm not wearing a loose tie over my t-shirt inspired by Avril Lavigne
Avril
anymore.
Lavigne.
Oh,
Oh my
no.
god.
I don't wear my hair like this anymore.
You are now.
Oh, Adam Revenge.
keep it that
Adam
way.
Revenge. Anybody?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Adam Revenge.
Don't.
Marry me.
Oh.
Make
Oh,
Adam
shit.
Revenge again.
Make Adam Revenge.
Oh, I would
That
wear,
needs
I
to
would
be
wear
on
that
shirts.
hat.
Make Adam Revenge again.
You know what? I'll take it under consideration.
Nice.
Get my MySpace back up and running.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
my-
do you guys want to do like the middle point, like maybe like late elementary, early high school? Like, what bands were you guys getting into where you went like, okay, maybe there's a little something more to explore, as opposed to like if you were just kind of cutting out like one genre. Do you guys start to branch out or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
So with that kind of part of the transition, it was pretty quick in terms of there was a couple changes, and then it kind of just like carried out, which was like right before I got into high school, I got really into like pop punk, but like the more commercial pop punk, like Blink-182 and like Sum 41 and all that kind of stuff. And then maybe like a year and a half after I started getting into like the kind of like 90s alt, like Nirvana, but more like Tool and like Rage Against the Machine
Was
kind
this
of like thing.
due to a cousin Pablo?
It was. Oh, you remember? Yeah.
Pavel?
And,
Yeah, I remember
God
cousin
damn it.
Pablo.
Yeah, yeah. I remember just being one of those, angsty teens just in the car on the way home to where he lived in Toronto and just listening to Blink-182 in my MP3 player. I think it was one of those really shitty, like, 128 megabyte, like, Sony Bean ones, I remember.
Sony Bean?
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah.
I remember those.
I think it was one of those, and I remember listening to, like, First Date or whatever, just, like, one of the classics, and,
Is that like a
He
Mr.
was-
Bean sponsored MP3 player?
Definitely.
it was just, like, this weird...
You accidentally
very
swallowed it or something.
smooth, very it's very smooth, very shiny looking black bean. It was very plug looking. Anyways, so I just remembered him playing Tool in the CD player on the way there, and I was just like, "Oh, what is this?" And it was the beginning of like Eulogy with a little like guitar like at the end of the bridge, that little picking, that little like light picking thing, and he's like, "Oh, this is like real music or whatever."
Yeah.
And at that point, I don't know. I
That
just
was
kind of
it.
like my curiosity kind of peaked there a little bit, and then I kind of started like, oh, cool, like I'm just gonna download them a bit more, and then I'll start listening to them on YouTube. Oh, cool, here's some live videos. Oh, they have a cool like aesthetic thing, and then I started getting more towards that. That became more appealing, and then that was like kind of like grade 9 to 10, and then from grade 10 and on, it was pretty much like, yeah.
Cool.
When did you stop listening to Shakira?
Pretty much as soon as I stepped out of that van, it was just like
One camping trip is all it
yeah, you just walk out like in a cold sweat. You're like,
That was all you needed.
took. Your hips are still trying to gyrate.
you're like singing words like you have peanut butter on the roof of your mouth. Yeah.
What about you, Adam?
About you,
Well,
guy.
yeah, started with pop punk for a while.
The
old pop punk. Used to be into some friggin' techno for a bit, like a
Really?
jackass. Like
Like
just
like
just
like
like
Tiesto kind of,
like
fucking remember
weak
that.
sauce,
or like Cascade.
it was like
Wow,
Cascada.
you must
Oh,
have covered this
Cascada,
up
I'm
well
sorry,
because
that's
I
right,
never
that kind
knew
of
this
stuff.
about you.
This is like
This is
like
hilarious.
grade 4 or 5 maybe.
Okay.
You're listening to
like,
techno in grade 4?
Yeah, like
Ahead of the curve.
I don't know. I got like I got a little clock radio, and I would like frig with it, and I found this like kind of like one of those stations, and I'd be
Yeah.
like, "Yo, this is pretty sick," because like it reminded me of the music in the anime that I was watching at the
Okay,
time. I was
okay.
into Inuyasha.
So you're
And
probably
so-
listening to like the Z103.5 like mix
absolutely
at
was.
midnight or something.
Exactly. So I'd remember little song titles and tell Josh to download them for me on Kazaa and burn little CDs
Nice.
from my parents'
Why
car.
couldn't you do it
And then
yourself?
I didn't have Kazaa.
Oh.
I don't know if we had a computer yet. Like a computer that could go on the internet. I don't think we
Yeah, I
did
don't-
until like
I
I was
don't
in
even think
grade
we did.
6. Yeah.
You guys are like using like a
fucking
punch
crazy.
card computer.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
One of those old boys.
Playing Minesweeper.
Yep, shit like this basically. Yo, can you get these guys behind us? Yeah.
They are.
Oh, they
doesn't-
are.
You can't. You
Perfect.
can't see them.
Can you
It's-
full screen
It's
them?
not screen. That's.
Yeah, you should full screen.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
full
wait,
screen
what?
it, Devin.
That's incredible. But anyway, yeah, got into that shit for a
So
little
you were
while.
a rave goth?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, rave goth, but also
Rave goth.
people,
Like, yeah,
people
these
showed me,
guys.
people show, yeah, basically. But when you're in grade 5, this manifests as having too many bracelets and a bunch of like rings and shit. Basically, things that look cool at the flea market when there's lots of them, and then when you get one of them and take it away and just wear it, you look like an idiot. Like, yeah, so tons of that kind of shit,
Yeah.
loaded with accessories. And well, this is actually when I
Captain
got more
Jack
into
Sparrow.
the actual
do, you have,
music.
do you have pictures
But-
of this?
Oh yeah.
pull
So
them
this actually, well, this is after the rave goth shit or the rave music shit, and then saw School of Rock.
Yeah.
And was all like, this is the shit now.
Cello.
And yeah, we went to Calgary with where our uncle lived, and yeah, he taught us how to play Smoke on the Water and shit. Or our
Cool.
cousin actually. Shout out to cousin Rachel.
Everybody's
She had
first tune.
Fucking right. But it was like flat on the lap with like fingers and like thumb.
Yeah. Yo,
And-
that's literally how I learned Smoke on the Water. Like
That's
my
amazing.
neighbor like taught it to me, and I had
Yes.
to play it like that because I didn't have the finger dexterity.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Like my anything other than my thumb would just get like raw. Like trying to play this on like an acoustic guitar too. Like I wasn't even playing it on an electric.
Hell yeah.
That's
So
embarrassing.
I'm glad to know there's others in the world
Absolutely.
who played that song the exact same way I did.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Jeff Healey style at first. And then, so through that got out of the pop punk into like real punk, so to speak, a lot of Dead Kennedys and Ramones and Clash and shit like that.
Cool.
Yep, there's me.
Oh my god.
That's wild.
Look at that.
Damn, brother.
Did you have eyes back then?
No, I did not.
That's a recent
I'd
addition.
leave them at home when I went to school. Teachers would be pissed because I couldn't take tests and read the board and stuff. They'd be like, "Hey, Adam, can you read page whatever?" I'd be like, "No."
I don't want to.
Exactly. So yeah, there's that's some cool shit right
Good
there.
times.
Obviously,
Cool.
As an edgy boy.
So
And then into
that's
emo
like
and blah, blah, blah.
you started to branch out from the punk.
Yep, into eventually some emo and stuff. The punk and the pop punk bass primed me perfectly for when emo happened.
Right,
And
like you getting into like my
Romance,
Chem and stuff
was
like that.
Yeah, oh man, one of the biggest influences I'd be probably.
Yeah, that's
early
why
on.
it was Revenge, because of
Yeah,
Three Cheers
out of
for
Revenge.
Sweet
Three Cheers for Sweet
yeah.
Revenge. There you go. So that was the shit.
Cool.
Bang.
But what about you, Evan? Did Adam steal any of your answers?
No, actually. So yeah,
He's his own person.
like I was
Also
into the
forget.
same stuff. Like I was into Sum 41 heavily, and then they played at the Odd in 2004. Was it 2004? Something like that. 2005. I don't know. Either way, so yeah, I was super stoked for that. It was
Here's the Go Check Yourself tour.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
shit.
So that was really dope. But
No, I was.
something that I wasn't expecting was like Protest the Hero opened.
Mm-hmm.
For some
Which was
41,
weird.
man.
Like it was probably right when Keziah came out, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But for some reason, yeah, like I'd never heard of them before. They opened for Sum 41, blew my mind. I was like, "What is that?" Like, what? It was just insane. So then, like, I remember, like after the show, just being so stoked to listen to more of Protest. So I'd never heard anything like that before, and that's what kind of got me into more like technical stuff. And then I would probably piss off my drum teacher by bringing him all these songs. He's like, fucking kid, like,
Dude, I can't even play these.
yeah, like,
Shut up,
no,
Ricky
he could, but he was like, oh, this is lame. Like, there's so much cooler stuff out there. Like,
Bummer.
no, it was good because he pushed me to like play.
Okay, like ground
Like,
yourself
yeah,
first
yeah.
and then build up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And like
okay.
it was.
This guy was playing the
it was
Mars
really
Volta
good,
when
but-
he was like fucking.
Yeah, exactly. And like
10
my
or-
drum teacher was
no,
telling me about the
12.
Mars Volta, like,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, like ridiculous stuff. But
Yeah, I
Wax
heard-
lacquer with a
I
single
heard
kick.
that during your first drum lesson, your drum teacher had asked you how long you had been learning, and when you said like 30 minutes, his fucking jaw hit the floor.
Oh yeah, and I remember that. That was
did
on,
you just
that
have
was
like
on
impeccable
September
like
8th.
rhythm,
Or it
like
was like-
right
I guess,
off the
yeah.
right
Wasn't
off
like
the
how
bat?
long you'd ever played like a real drum set or something?
I don't even know. Yeah, like something like that. But basically, how long have you been playing?
I think he was
Or
under
what-
the
no,
impression
he
that
asked
he had
where
been
I
like
took
taking
lessons.
lessons somewhere.
Yeah, he
else.
asked where I took
Right.
lessons. But yeah, that was. I didn't
Cool.
really know what to say. I was like, "What do you?"
Yeah,
talking
for
about?
sure, for sure.
Xavier School for Gifted Children.
No, you're boosting.
That's hilarious.
Don't boost me.
Your next man.
Okay, do you guys want to move to like where you're at now? Then
Where are you at?
where's your head at, fellas?
Hey.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
I don't know. It's kind of weird to
Wait.
kind of.
Okay, go.
For those,
got me
for
with
those
my
who don't
own
know, that's an Ian thing.
Swindled again.
Ian's really good at that.
It's okay.
But I don't know. It's kind of hard to.
Wait. No, I'm just-
I'm on it. Okay, not really. I'm not on the ball.
I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
Your story's gonna suck
I'm
now.
not.
Well,
Started it twice.
well, it's gonna suck.
evaporated.
It's gonna suck because like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like it's
Wait,
kind of
wait,
hard to
wait.
say.
What are you trying
It's
to say?
kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say where you're at now because I feel like as you get older, your like musical tastes become more broad. Like you start to like things a little bit more evenly. Whereas when you're younger, you're kind of like, I like this genre and this genre only. And then when it kind of like when you get older, like that middle point, it's like I like these two genres and these two genres only.
Yeah.
And then when you get older, it kind of like, you know, as even like every year goes on, it just like broadens even more. And
For
more
me,
and
it's
more and
easier
more
to
and
say
more.
what genres I don't like than what I do like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah.
for sure.
True that.
yeah.
Are you gonna start liking country soon?
Who knows?
Bet you
I
are.
keep wondering.
I think it's
I
more of
keep
like a
wondering
production.
that.
I think it's more of
It's
like a
not bad.
production thing too, like that I'm into
horrible.
is like
Sounds-
you finding out
sounds
certain qualities in the song that are like production kind of decisions rather than like songwriting / like this band's skill is X
Sure,
amount
sure.
kind of thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool how they did that, and then that makes me take something from that genre. I'm like, okay, cool. Now I like a little bit of that because of this reason, but not
Definitely.
it fully. So I guess where I'm at now is like in terms of, you know, I think I've gotten more into like hip hop and more kind of, especially a lot more like pop music. A little bit less of like, I feel like when I started to like kind of get into pop music, I was more like, I gotta go to the top 40 because that's all I can rely on. And then I was like, I gotta find out a way to like this. And then
Amateur move.
I kind of like tried to
What
for a bit.
beginner.
I know. I tried to for a bit, and then I was like, okay, then I got to go for more of like the, you know, R&B kind of stuff. And then I feel like when I got to that point, that's kind of where the newer thing that I'm slowly starting to listen to more is like R&B and like, you know, really jazzy chords with like vocal melodies that are like really like interesting, and then the way they fall on the chords, and you know,
Like
how
who?
the drums keep a steady foundation, but it's like heavy in the sense of like it's emotional, but it's soft in terms of like how everything's like sang and like played.
Yeah,
and
I've
everything.
kind
And
of been
that's
getting into the
weird
same
that's,
thing like recently as well.
Yeah.
And it's strange for me because R&B was something that was just like pretty far away on my radar, like even a year ago.
yeah, because you listen to it and you're like, you know,
I
you
just
kind of
always
see
heard
things
like the
more-
R&B that's playing on the radio, and I'm like, this is kind of crap. But then, shout out to Joe Budden's podcast. Like they
Yo,
always
Joe
play
Budden.
R&B.
Yeah.
They always play R&B at the end, and I'm like, wow, some of
Yo,
these songs
Evan.
are like really
What's up,
technically
guys?
dope and like well put together.
Yeah, I started listening to this guy like Daniel Caesar from Toronto.
Yeah,
And
Daniel
he's
Caesar.
so
Daniel!
good.
Yeah.
Like he's like I've heard his
Danny.
name for a while, but then like when I just started kind of listening to him a lot more, and I guess what kind of appealed to me more is like Protests the Heroes, like bass player that came after Arif. He's like his sound tech guy. So I'd always see like Instagram stories and shit of him like at the mixing deck at like whatever big music festival that's happening, and I was always like, oh, it's kind of cool. And then I finally started actually trying to take a listen. I was like, oh man, like A, this guy can sing, and B, like whoever's producing his stuff, if he's having a say on it, like it's great. So
Cool.
yeah,
Plays at my work.
So
plays at
So-
your
Plays
work.
at my work. We're in a
Yeah.
song with H-E-R. Her.
Oh,
Her, you know her.
best part.
Best part. Yep, that song plays at my work. It makes me so happy.
That's awesome.
The best.
Well, what you laughing at?
That's awesome.
Bro, that's so
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
As Jimmy Fallon would say.
Yeah, I think I do remember saying that.
That's a real clip. I can actually.
Pull it up.
That's
Yeah, you want to see it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to derail. Do you want to actually
No,
hear
do
Jimmy
it.
Fallon do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, Flynn, you got to pull up John Mulaney on Jimmy Fallon.
Well, while Devin's bringing that up, do you want to start to get into where you're at right now?
Where are
Certainly.
you?
Well, right now I'm really into the noises Jimmy Fallon makes with his mouth while he's laughing and trying to transition into something.
Scarf?
And so
That's
yep,
basically
that's
all
the
you
one.
listen
That's
to
the top
now.
one. And yeah, it's pretty much all I listen to. But no, from the emo got into some stuff with screaming, which would have been like Alexis on Fire. Protest was fucking huge. And yeah, Alexis on Fire was the first band that I could stomach the screaming. It
Yeah,
wasn't,
I
like,
think
too
I was kind
heavy
of in the
for me.
same boat where like the vocals were still understandable because I had been introduced to things like some more like really intense like black metal, I guess, and like some really out there like thrash as well, like Job for a Cowboy and shit like that,
Yeah.
like Whitechapel, and I'm just like, I don't know what they're saying, and it sounds crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where Alexis on Fire was like a little more, well, for us it's kind of like a hometown sound, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Digestible.
Yeah, and I could understand what they were singing about, right? It just wasn't like a blast of sound.
Yeah.
So yeah,
exactly.
that was like my entry point as well.
Yeah, so that was a great kind of eye-opening thing there, and from there I remember the day that I transitioned from My Chemical Romance being my favorite band to Under Oath being my favorite band. Back when having a favorite band was really important.
Yeah.
Back when you'd ask people, "What's your favorite band?" and then they'd like have one, and you'd have one,
Yeah.
because everyone would be like, "Well, this is my favorite band." But now I don't know. I don't think I have one. If I had to pick one, Animals as Leaders probably,
Okay.
but arguable.
I think now
Arguable.
I have no ability to pick a
I can-
favorite band. Like
Yeah. I can
back
give you, like,
no
10.
grade 8, grade 9, I would be like System of a Down or Red Hot Chili Peppers, like easily. Now I'm like, I don't know. I could give you 200.
I feel
I can't even
for
pick a song
different
in the
reasons,
car.
right?
Yeah,
It's like, this
yeah,
is my
yeah.
favorite band because
I'm a more educated listener now.
Yeah.
I'm a more astute listener. Like back then, I was just like, "This sounds great." Okay, that's it. That was
Yeah.
my only qualifying mark. Now I tend to break things down a lot
I
more.
wonder what Jimmy
Hell
Fallon
yeah.
sounds like.
Oh,
All right, hit us with the Jimmy
so,
Fallon.
you're gonna want to scrub through until you see like it like cuts away to like a thing with like Spider Ham in it. It's probably like 4 or 5 minutes.
Spider
in.
Ham.
Fuck is that?
Yeah, it's his character in the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
Okay, so go back. You're gonna want to go to like right before there's any of them. So let's say like 5
You
5
really
20.
watch this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Holy
ready?
fuck.
This is gonna blow your mind.
And what happened was I was just cursing wildly.
That's the sound right there.
there it is.
Yeah, go back.
There
Go
it
back.
is.
That was it.
All this work for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
what a payoff!
Did you hear it?
And what happened was I was just cursing wildly.
Thank you for your
So that's it.
Dude, that's amazing.
How did
That's
you find that?
fantastic.
I was just watching it, and I was really high.
fuck.
And then you just could not focus in on that.
Thank you for your say this
not?
explicitly for
I want to sample that now.
It's so
John
good.
Mulaney.
So anyway, we went to see a bunch of bands. It was like the first ever friggin' whatever
Mayhem
Fest. Yeah,
Ooh,
and so
sounds brutal.
Dangerous.
yeah.
Crazy.
So that was the first
Where
time.
was it? Buffalo?
Yeah, we went to Buffalo.
That
It was
sounds-
like,
Jesus Christ.
Equally
last-
as dangerous as
Yeah.
the name of the festival.
oh yeah, it was the last day of the tour, and like we'd never heard of Suicide Silence, and they played like as one of the opening bands when we pulled up there, and that was dope. And
They smashed the shit out of their gear.
Nice.
yep, it was pretty sick. And then yeah, we saw Under Oath at one point, and we worked our way up to the front. And it was funny because our dad got caught in a wall of death on the way up there because we were working our way up through 36 Crazy Fists. They were playing, and we were trying to like get to the front so that when those people leave, we can get like right at the front. And so, so yeah, as that was happening, our dad's like holding our coats, and like and the thing it just starts clearing out.
You
We're
guys
just like,
ever
"Get to the
see that
side."
video? It's like a black dude walking through some big like metal show. I assume he's at a festival. And he's like carrying some cup like high up in the air, and there's just all these white kids like slamming around, and then like the band calls like a wall of death out, and he's just like towering like 2 or 3 feet above all these people, and they're just like clashing around him, and he's just like, oh shit, oh shit, what's going on?
That's amazing.
It's pretty priceless.
So
Didn't
that
spill
was
his
our
drink?
dad.
No, Devin, if you can find that video,
looking.
that's a
Black
real
guy at a
keeper.
show.
That's a video of our dad. That was him. That was him at this very show.
Yeah, I believe it.
So anyway, we got to the front, and Josh and I had emo girls who wanted to lean on us, which was dope. And I don't know if that was what it was, but that was the day Under Oath became my favorite
Hey, can
band.
we catch a lean?
Because
Is
of the
that what they
girls?
said to you?
They were all like they wanted to be right at the very front, but
Could be.
Squirt, squirt
so
for the church.
so they were down for a standing cuddle. It was pretty neat. And yeah, so then it became Under Oath, got really heavy into the metalcore, and yeah, opened my horizons more and more. Got into the raps and the tools and the
I don't think that's
and the all sorts of weird shit. I don't know. I like really strange stuff now. I like a lot of like
Mr. Bungle.
Mr. Bungle. Yep. Anything Mike Patton does, he's probably my favorite singer of all time. He's so much more than that, though. He's probably my favorite musician, perhaps.
Cool.
But yeah, I like weird shit now.
Yeah, I remember, like in high school with you, we would like exchange our iPods in like I think it was religion class, maybe.
Yeah, we had religion and anthro.
Yeah, in one of the classes, we would exchange iPods, and like we would have downloaded some new music like the night before, and it was like, "Yo, you got to check this out." And it was always like super obscure stuff, like Schwangel and like Primus, or just like
Those guys were sweet.
even just Les Claypool on his own, some Buckethead stuff,
Yeah.
like just some really progressive
Absolutely.
artists. And we would just sit there like, "Whoa, man, it's fucking crazy."
It's the best. Yeah, just those people who are totally down to go way the heck out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I was saying to Lauren earlier today that Les Claypool, for me, he borders this line perfectly between completely insane, almost to the point where it doesn't make sense musically,
Yeah.
but he's just straddling it enough that you're like, wow, this is so technically awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
Totally.
like if he just teetered a little bit farther, it'd be like unlistenable. And I feel like a lot of those progressive artists like that are pretty similar.
We're gonna ride that line of chaos.
Yeah.
Are they making music still?
Primus? I'm not sure. I know, like I think the latest thing they did was that
Willy Wonka?
soundtrack for Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they
so
have still done some
so
live
weird.
performances and stuff, but I don't know if they're planning on recording anything. I don't know.
Some dope stuff.
Yeah, man. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. Like,
Yeah, you are.
I pretty much like whatever's good, and I know that sounds stupid, but it's like if it's done well, I'll listen to it. Like,
Yeah.
if it's recorded well and executed well, if the songs are written well, if it sounds good, like I don't really care. Like, I don't know. One of my favorite bands right now is the 1975. They're just like really good at what they do. It's just like really enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, their production
They're
value is like through the roof.
Really enjoyable to watch live too. I went to one of their shows and it was insane. It's like they're just so good at everything, like across the board, just professional. It's crazy.
And they seem really charismatic and funny
Yeah.
in interviews as well. Like,
Exactly,
it's really dope when you come across an artist like that who has the showmanship, but then is also like a real person off the side.
Yeah.
It's
And, like,
not
their
like a,
songs
like
are
a
really
Michael
personal and
Jackson
stuff.
scenario where like
Yeah.
amazing artist, crippled human being off
yeah.
to the side.
Yeah.
True.
Crippled.
So yeah, pretty
No,
much. just
like
Emotionally.
their social
Emotionally
functions aren't
stunted.
that great. Yeah, emotionally stunted might be
There you go.
might be the good way to put
I'll
it.
be the political correct fact checker.
Thanks, dude.
I kind of like crippled.
So, before we get into some questions about like Danger Liker and shit, there's just a couple little things, little tidbits I want to throw out there. So, I guess I'll start with Ian. How long have you been playing guitar?
About 2 weeks now.
6 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it today?
Yeah. No, so I've been playing since I was 13, like I think grade 8, and
Yeah.
it wasn't really seriously, it was kind of like I picked up a bass my uncle's brother gave me, and I was it was one of the short scale basses, and it looked like a Telecaster, which was kind of weird, but it was like a bass shape. I still have it, but it's like a small scale, it's like a guitar, and
Is
it's
it in
weird
your
when you hold
basement?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think you know the one. And after that, I kind of got a guitar at some point, but then
Your pop gave you a guitar on Father's Day? Your
No.
first electric guitar?
Father's Day. I don't know about Father's Day.
Okay.
It was Father's Day.
I don't know, but
You better
Your
believe
story
it, guy.
straight, Ian.
Yeah.
It was Father's Day.
Get your
were
life
here.
together, man.
I wasn't there.
You were here.
Get your head out of your ass, Ian.
You were
I
always
was
here.
My daddy was here,
You
right,
were
right
always
with
here.
me.
You
No,
were
but
here.
what it was I remember at some point I was in the house and I just heard like this guitar being played really badly, like in the distance, just like this kind of, you know what I mean? It's like just
I wanna
some
be like
chords
that.
being
Walking
strummed.
away.
Yeah, and then I was kind of trying to find the sound, and then I kind of found my parents.
Were you like floating like Pepe Le Pew? Like
Yeah,
when he's
like
trying to
with
find
the
his love?
feet, with the
Yeah.
feet,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
the toes in the air, and then that led to my parents' room where my dad was just like sitting on the bed with this like little Fender Strat knockoff with a little tiny like cube amp, and he's like, just basically the gist of it was, take this.
Polish school.
And I was like, oh yeah, I used to go to
Cool.
Polish. But no, it was so it was that, and then after that I started.
So was he
learning,
just like, I'm really bad at this, you just have it?
No, I think he. No, I
can be
think
equally
he.
as bad. You
So what
got me,
happened
I
was when I
suck.
got that bass, I started getting like into bass. I started learning like Blink songs and whatever I could on bass. So I think I like had like tried to start doing like collaborating with like other people like in the same grade as me at like grade 8 or whatever. And so I guess my dad took notice of that, and I don't know. He probably just tried like strumming away at it, and then I kind of came in. And he was like, "Here, just take this," and then I took it, and yeah, that was the first time I had a guitar. No, wait, it's not. The first time I had a guitar was my
Unbelievable.
parents saw some
Go
infomercial. My parents saw an infomercial from one of this guy. I forget what his name is. What? Esteban. His name was Esteban. And he was like this like
Esteban.
Diet Santana looking guy, and he was like just like showing how to like play the guitar or whatever. And then he's like, okay, buy my DVD VHS thing, you get a free acoustic guitar with it, or 3 easy payments of $9.99.99, or like whatever.
$9.99.99.
Exactly.
Damn, Dad.
The savings are priceless.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Exactly. Anyways, so we got that was the first instance of getting a guitar. It was an acoustic guitar, and it was just kind of like the action was terrible.
Brought to you by
Wasn't set up
HSN.
properly.
Yo, no way!
Is this the ad for the guitar?
No way.
Yeah,
Yes!
see, Diet Santana right there.
It depends. Santana Ray Vaughan.
Wow, that audio's coming in clear.
Santana Ray Vaughan.
Steve is here to share with you the gift of guitar.
Ew.
Do you get his name?
Yeah, that
I'm
guy's
so uncomfortable by
all
it.
right. Yeah, that
Alright,
was
for
that was.
any of the audio listeners, we're watching this man strum away on a classical acoustic guitar, and he has just these filthy long nails.
They're pretty clean.
He looks like he's
They
played
weren't
by
really
David
clean. They
Cross.
almost look like porcelain.
Yeah.
You've got porcelain-like nails.
So that was the first instance of playing guitar, but like it was kind of that was even before the bass. It was like picking it up, kind of being discouraged because of the action being really hard to press down on the strings. I was like, oh, I can't do this with my weak little like fingers. And then electric guitar was way easier. And then after that was kind of like playing pop punk songs, then getting into Tool, then getting into like metalcore and shit. And
Cool.
That's pretty much it.
Cool.
So basically, 13-ish years, maybe only playing seriously for like less than 10,
Okay.
just under 10.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then for you, we kind of got into it a little bit already. So you've basically been playing your whole entire life.
No, my first lesson was on September 8th, 2005. I'm surprised you don't have that in your
The exact
notes there,
date?
pal.
How do you just have the exact
I do.
Pick it up.
I don't know. I can remember shit like that. I also have the piece of paper that like from my first lesson with like the first like 4 beats that I
Okay,
learned or
okay.
One
Where,
was duh, and the other one was ch, and the other one was
exactly.
so you were
You've done
taken
this before.
you were taken to Long and McQuaid to pick up some drumsticks, and you were asked which drum kit you liked the most, and you ran over to like this red drum kit,
Yep.
and it had a sold sign on it, and you
Oh,
were
yeah.
like, yeah, I want this one. Too bad it's fucking sold out already.
Oh yeah,
And-
I'm sure that's probably a direct quote from when I was like 10, right?
Yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah.
fucking sold out.
I guess I'll just go home and shave my
Who's
fucking
misquoting
beard.
me? Who the hell did you talk to? I'm gonna have to shake some people down after this.
Fuck this, Mom. I'm
It's
going
from
out
your
for a
moms.
dart.
It's from your mom's. And then it turns out the kit was bought for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And
you
I
got to take
tripped.
it home?
Yeah.
Yeah, you freak out?
Yeah, I did. It was great.
That's
It
cool.
was insane. And then I pissed my parents off for years. That setup at the attic just ruined the atmosphere of the house forever.
Yeah.
It just killed everybody trying to do anything. It's like, oh, I hope you like bad music over that. Anything. It's like, oh, I really wish I could watch TV. Too bad the soundtrack is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Adam, like, how long have you been rocking the vocals? Like, when did you seriously start getting into it?
Good question. Seriously, I still don't take it as seriously as I should. I should fucking practice way more than I do. So not yet.
Shots
But
fired.
shots fired at myself. Yeah, not yet, but eventually. But I started,
Okay, when
I
did you
started
start getting
having
coached for vocals then?
So Dan Forsey foresaw a future of me doing this for our band when he was Dan the Band Man, who was organizing the plan for which we would stand on a stage for some mans, and so for the fans.
Thanks for that.
Fans is audacious. We didn't have those. So yeah, he would teach us teach me how to sing backup originally, and I would always use the my voice is changing, it's bad for me to sing excuse to try to get out of it.
That's an excuse.
And then yeah, it worked. And then
Crazy.
Reese Davies, though, the singer from our band, our first like actual band that performed
Touring band, yeah.
our first touring band, yeah, where you'd play like the Hoother one day, and then you'd play like
The King Street Trio.
King Street Trio.
Oh, I love that record.
play a recital there at noon on a Sunday.
With a little smoke on the water at 2:30.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever.
For sure.
3 times.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
Run it back.
Couple encores. Same song.
You gotta get at least 45 seconds in and then stop and start over a few times too.
Yeah.
We never did that.
Just play the intro for 5 minutes and then go into it.
Oh wait! I messed up the transition into the verse. Let's do it again.
Let's start over.
Folks, it's gonna be worth it. so that was always good. But yeah. I'm bad with numbers and time and years.
We don't need exact dates.
Let's see.
Yes, we do.
I understand
been-
you're not Evan. You're not a complete autist and gonna remember the exact date.
So I would say 12 to 13 years, and then for guitar, like 14.
Okay, cool.
Well, no, yeah, 14 since the time at the place in Calgary.
Yeah.
This is my remembering face.
So
This is a face.
basically what I was trying to get out of this is you guys are all, even though you probably don't consider yourselves as such, really seasoned musicians for your ages.
I guess so. There's a lot of different spices, and there's some cumin,
Yeah.
Cajun.
paprika. You know.
No more shrimp, no more gator.
Yes, thank you.
You guys
Exactly.
know like 3 spices? You guys are really white. Enjoying that right now.
You know what? I don't
Pepper.
have time for this.
Oh,
Maple syrup.
You know what? I'm gonna call Rosemary and she's gonna drag you out of here.
Nothing to
Nobody
contribute.
knows.
Look at me.
I don't. All my ones are too unoregano. They're not
that
very
was
good.
bad.
The ones
All
that.
right, that ended. All right.
Yikes.
Leave,
This
'cause
stream is over.
I should bay leave.
Yikes.
No.
Okay, reel it in.
Yeah.
Literally.
All right,
That should be
let's
Adam
let's
digs
get
a
back
hole
to
and
it,
jumps
boys.
in
it.
Let's get back to it. Is it a little hot in here?
It's
Nope.
something.
Is it just that vent? I don't know.
It's
Probably.
a nothing.
Yikes.
Spice is
It's just
nice.
you, Christian, and that beautiful
So
flannel shirt.
my beard.
we
That's
have a
very
break coming up,
famous.
but I want to get into let's leave all the elementary school. You were shit at guitar. You were shit at singing. Evan was amazing at drums. Apparently, it was just never bad.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
That was the best at everything.
That's true.
Stop
No
boosting.
boost.
No boost. No boost.
So probably let's look into middle high school, late high school. You guys started to develop. Well, you had already played for a band, several bands. What about you two? Did you guys ever play in any other bands other than the Hoother Hotel
I'm
touring
gonna sit
band?
here like this to that question. I was squeezed out.
Unbelievable.
I was replaced.
Really?
No,
broke up.
it wasn't like that. I wasn't cheesed.
Okay.
It was okay.
I
Like
still felt bad for it
Nah,
for years
like-
and years and years and
You
years.
kicked your own brother
I
out?
still only. Well, no.
no, it was just like
So was this Sick Transit?
This is Dapper Dan.
Oh, Dapper Dan. That's right.
Dapper Dan.
yeah,
I
it was just
forgot
Adam,
about
Josh,
Dapper
and I,
Dan.
and
Dapper
then
Dan, mad.
and then Fatal Flaw broke up, and that was with Chris Nelson, Sam Calamai, and they formed up with Adam and Josh,
Right.
and Chris. So
Okay, so you had a taste of what it was like to be in a little more matured band, and then they were like, "All right, beat it, kid."
no, like I
Beat it, Adam's
I
little
was
brother.
never even really. I was never really in. I was just with Adam and Josh. I was never really.
Okay.
So, but at that point, I was kind of I don't know.
You were in a transitional phase in your life.
Yeah, I
You
was
could've
kind
gone
of
either
into
way.
hockey, not into hockey seriously, but
Yeah.
I was just really interested in hockey and going out and doing athlete things with my friends and my
Like,
spare
what is
time,
that?
you know.
What?
I don't know,
Running.
playing football and I still do that shit, but
Iced
Okay.
canes.
Okay.
but
Yeah,
that was
no,
more
I
of a
know.
priority than it is to me now.
Sandsphere.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so
Well, look at
I
how
was
well
still
developed
playing,
you are
though.
and how horribly we function in social situations. That's because we didn't play sports.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Exactly.
Love with
I
that
don't,
team
Self
building.
guide.
I don't know how to fucking handle myself in society.
Right?
Exactly. Jesus.
no, but I still
amazing.
played drums. I was still taking I think I was still taking lessons. I took lessons until I think grade 12.
Wow, okay.
Um,
That's a long time.
But then, yeah, I don't know. I didn't really take it that seriously.
Yeah.
I was just still kind of jamming songs and whatever.
Sure.
But then there was a Battle of the Bands that Chris Nelson couldn't make it to.
Mhm.
That I got to play with Sick Transit Glory, which was pretty dope. That gave me a bit of a taste, and then that kind of made me want to play more. But at the same time, I was too lazy to go find people to
Right.
jam with and whatever. So I just kind of, I did pick up practicing more and whatever, and then eventually I found myself here with these guys.
Okay, cool.
We'll get into that later, but
Yeah. No, I want to set it up so after the break we can get right into the Danger Liker shit for an hour straight.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
cool.
So you played with Dapper Dan, Sick Transit Gloria. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Sure. So yeah, that was fun. Dapper Dan was interesting. Our dad described our sound as Mexican death surf.
Pretty solid.
So yeah, because there's a lot of jigga digga 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 digga, and that kind of. Well, that was one song.
You start learning how dope palm muting is, and then you just overdo it like crazy.
It's all jigga digga 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 digga, like all that kind of.
Just like the trap on
I still have that album.
exactly.
No, really? Goddamn! Thank you.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. Should be ashamed.
Well, I'm
of
not
yourself.
saying I listened to it.
We can
But I have the
work out
picture.
some sort of settlement after. Don't talk about that right now.
So.
Should have brought it in.
Oh yeah.
No, you should not have. I'm glad you did not.
Oh
That
Christ!
would have been.
I'm so glad there isn't
Sorry,
more
it's in
footage.
the
So then Dapper Dan wrapped up, and
Yeah,
you
Raptor Dan and
acquired a few more members and became Sick Transit.
Yeah, so Josh and I started hanging out with the dudes from Fatal Flaw, who were like Chris Nelson, Francesco Storino, Greg Ernest, who did play bass for them but didn't edit anymore at that point, and your boy Sam Calmai, and started.
Speaking
playing
of
some
Francesco,
shit.
he actually just dropped a record like a couple weeks ago.
What?
No way.
Yeah.
What kind of music?
I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I can show you like over the break or like at the end of the episode or something. It's pretty good though, actually.
For the record, Francesco Storino, I love you, boy. We were all major dickheads to Frank back in the day, and that was like probably at my peak shithead teenager-y phase, and there's a lot of stuff
Yes,
I
it
regret
was.
from that era.
Yep.
You know, a lot of stuff.
I think
Well,
everybody's kind of done some
Nope.
shit they're not
Yeah.
too proud of.
It's when you're drinking and you're 16
Not
and you're
Patrick.
trying to
Been
climb
pretty perfect,
social
I think.
hierarchies
Yep.
and you're doing
I've said to these
shitty
guys
shit.
plenty of times, like there's lots of dumb shit that I did where I just like lay in bed at night and I'm like, fuck,
Like, man,
you idiot.
why was I such a dick?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's some shit that happened like 12 years ago.
Nobody
Like,
remembers
that's the kind of
probably.
thing that like when you listen to it, like
Those are
when
the kind of
when you're
things you go to
thinking
hell
about-
for.
Yeah, but when you're like in
That is
public,
how.
Yeah, exactly.
Not sleeping.
Exactly.
Just-
you ever be like in public though, and you like think about that stuff, and you like have headphones in, and when you just cringe at it, you like make a sound,
Yeah.
but like you don't realize it. You're just like,
Yeah.
like you just like
Oh,
think
yeah.
about it. You're like, oh,
Oh,
fuck,
yeah.
I probably made that sound in front of all
yeah.
these people. Like, I like the bank or something. You're like, and then you're like,
That's the sound of 10 years being shaved off
yeah,
your life.
exactly.
Yeah,
Bill
Yeah.
Burr says he does that in front of his wife, and she's always like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I just remembered something." So anyway, yeah. So it was with those dudes, and eventually shuffled around and became Lockwood. Brandon Lockwood was in there from Courage My Love, who we used to play Supernova shows with as fucking
Hey,
Dapper Dan
you
back
were
in the day.
you were
which
on
is crazy.
Supernova too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was dope.
Yeah,
It
it's
sucked.
Lining
weird.
those guys' pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they-
economically it sucked.
They
But
got
it
me
was
play
cool.
my first show at a club vinyl.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, it was pretty embarrassing.
It's a sweet venue. It was a sweet venue. It's probably a
It's
restaurant.
pretty
now.
embarrassing.
Speaking of sick venues, I remember seeing Six Transit Gloria play at Res.
Oh yeah, yeah. We played
Um,
the calf a few times.
Yeah, I never
Oh,
really
man.
came across a local band, so I think you guys were my first show.
Really?
That's
Sorry
dope.
to hear that as well.
What were your favorite shows in Sick Transit? Some of the best ones you played.
How many shows did you play?
Probably like 25 or 30.
What?
Yeah.
They were a huge deal.
Wait, which one was the,
Mike,
which
ask
one
Mike
was the horse
Davis.
mask one?
I'm not sure what that means.
Fuck.
Which one was the horse mask one?
Oh yeah, we played New Hamburg one time, and we decided it would be a good idea to play drunk for our first time ever.
Perfect.
And we called it New Hammered. And
so glad I
we played
wasn't there for
we played
that.
at the Legion, and I played with this donkey head.
Well, the good
on
thing
that I
about being
couldn't
at the
see
Legion is everyone else is piss wasted too.
Yes, exactly. It was so bad, and yeah, we were awful. And I didn't know this until like we got there, but Chris's dad had rented this like nice camera to tape the set,
Oh no!
and we were just
The cringiest.
fucking just shittered.
Is there a
and
tape
just played
that
this
exists
terrible
of this?
I've never seen it. He said he never wanted to see it. I don't think. so
we can get it.
But yeah, so that's not.
I have a
great
line to
show.
Chris.
That's
No, I
right.
know, but it's
Yeah.
it could have been
That's-
one of your favorites.
It's a
I don't
show.
know.
It's a show that happened. That's true. I'd say one of the coolest ones was Sam, who's not here. Diet Atlantic and us played with Abandon All Ships, who had just won that show Disband on Much Music at Vinyl, and
Hey.
then we came back into town, and Brendan was having a party that night. It was his birthday. And
Oh my god, that night.
It was lit. And so, yeah, and so we came back, and yeah, it was one of those times where it's like that was I think that was the pinnacle high school moment for me, where I was like playing a show with these cool bands that I can tell people about, and they'll be like, I know that from TV, and going to a party after, yeah. You know? It's like the shit. It's like it was the
I
most.
can imagine
like,
how
like,
ego stroking that would be.
Yeah, it's the most. It's the most I'll ever. It's the most. I knew in that moment that it would be the most I would ever enjoy high school. Everything aside from that,
it was downhill from there.
Yeah, and then actually getting to the party and talking to girls and being terrible and being awkward was not as good as like being in the car on the way back, being like, yo,
we smoked it, boys.
Yeah, those chicks who weren't there are gonna be so impressed.
My name is Adam. I peaked in high school. Reinhardt.
Yeah, that's
hilarious.
Me. Yeah,
Alright,
that drive back, that was it. Downhill from there.
Ian, did you play in any bands like?
None that kind of like went out and had the. Like, we didn't go out and play shows or do anything like that. It was kind of like, oh, hey, we should jam sometime, go in their basement, like, jam a couple songs. Oh, do you know this song by this band? Yeah, and then kind of play that, and then, like, they'd never, like, call or anything like that. And then I met this guy, Patrick, and
Probably not get into those details.
he got, well, I'll say this. He got me into something.
Yes.
And I was doing it a lot.
Yes.
It made me want to keep doing it more. What I'm trying to say is, no, he like
is
the guy
sex,
that,
drugs, or rock and roll?
It is actually none of those.
It's not sex?
Nope.
What are you
Video
talking
game.
about?
Tell us.
And it ain't rock and roll. What it is actually no. Pete is just the guy that got me more into like metal, like heavier metal and stuff like that. And then he got me into like, and also just playing guitar like more seriously. And then we kind of were jamming with one of your pals on the drums.
Good old Patrick.
Yep.
Veroniki.
Yep.
Cool. Sandwich.
And yeah, we were just kind of doing that for a bit, and then that was kind of like the last thing in high school that I was
Sylvia
like,
says hi.
kind of thought of something.
Who?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey. What?
All right.
What?
So,
What?
do you guys want to put a pin in it there? We can take a quick little break.
Put a pin in
when we
you
come
guys.
back, we'll get into how Danger Liker formed. I know there's a little bit of stuff that happened pre-Danger Liker. We can touch on that like really quickly, and then we can talk all about you guys.
Cool.
Cool. Okay, we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. I just want to remind everybody that this episode's brought to you by the Flu Apron. Last week we had Glue Apron. It was a handless apron application device. The Flu Apron, it's just a rag you put over your face so you don't catch the flu. All right, thanks, Flu Apron.
Hey.
I want a Dr. Drew apron next week.
Yeah, I know everybody tunes in for these dank ads.
Yeah, they do.
All right, so
Are you a little embarrassed by that?
Let the shame wash over you. That was good. I thought it was perfectly good.
let's go. All the shame.
Perfectly good.
Okay, so before the break, we went through all your history. There's nothing that we missed out. There's not a single Disney trip. There's not a single snack you guys ate that we missed out on. We touched on everything.
The bees, though.
When I was peeing, I thought, oh, not the bees. Not the bees. When I was peeing, I thought of so many shoutouts I missed. I'm just going to...
Drop them now.
No.
Do
I'm
it.
gonna not. And
Let's
I'm gonna
go.
live with it. No.
Let's go.
We're moving on. You started moving on after the break.
Shout out to
We're moving back there now.
Okay, so basically, I want to know a little bit about the spectral type.
Yes.
Oh, the
We're bringing the whole crew together. You guys can collaborate on what you wanna say about this.
The rectal pipe.
The rectal pipe, spectral hype.
The special tripe.
Special tripe.
For those of you who do not know, the spectral type was this metal band that some of the members are here and some of them are gone forever.
Hi guys.
I have nothing to do with this.
It was kind of this organic, rolling group of members, and it eventually evolved into what is Danger Liker now. So yeah, do you guys want to talk about that at all, or do you want to get straight into Danger Liker
Or is that a
stuff?
touchy subject?
No, we can get into it. I mean,
roll out the history.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of how like if you want to go from like the very little point of like how everything kind of like started.
Yeah, I want the beginning of the Big Bang. I
Sure.
need the initial flash.
So what happened was at the apartment that I was renting at the time, my brother came over and he kind of saw that I was getting into recording, like home recording, just having like a little 2-channel interface, have the guitar plugged in DI, have an amp sim, have like a fake MIDI drum set up, and I was just kind of
memory foam mattress in the corner.
Oh, of course. Exactly.
You had memory foam?
No, I don't think it was memory foam.
I don't
You
know.
had a futon.
No.
He had a forget
It
me
did.
phone.
I had a futon. But so I was just getting into that, and my brother kind of suggested to me Adam, because they were in the same grade, and I remember how you introduced it was, you should record this guy because he screams. At that point, I was like, all right, get him over here. And then, so Adam and I hung out and we recorded some stuff.
What about the first time?
The
that
first
I can't
time?
remember?
Yo, I'm right behind
The
There's a bit of a story there.
structure thing?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so...
Right
Although
behind
it makes you
Mike.
look bad
So?
for being a person who would, listen to something that's not out yet.
Yeah. So,
You were a bad person. You're not anymore. You've learned your way. You've learned the ways of the just Christ-like lamb boy.
well, why don't you talk about the first time then, if you...
Well, I wasn't.
What's going on?
I wasn't listening to something that I shouldn't have been yet. But so yeah, Alan was all like, "Yo, man, my brother's got a place. He is into music and stuff, and also we can blaze there after class."
Damn.
So we went there, and I
After
was like,
class,
"All right,
though.
let's check it out." Yeah, after class.
After class.
We don't skip class, bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
Get your education.
Yeah, stay in school.
Yeah.
You can get your education on the street after class. Get both.
Ooh.
Get
Damn.
both.
Get
Get street smart.
Yeah, exactly. Street smarts.
So anyways.
John Mulaney. Anyway,
Hey.
so yeah, we went on down, and I walked in, and I was all like, "Oh shit, I recognize those vocals. That sounds like the dude from Structures." And I was like, "Is this Structures?" And Ian's all like, "How the heck did you know Structures? This isn't even out yet. Like this someone just popped this up online." And yeah, it was. I was like, "Well, I know I recognize the vocals. I do vocals. You do guitar. We should do vocals and guitar."
I remember you talking like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how. It,
Yeah.
And then we wrote some
I
stuff.
thought
We
like
wrote
it
some
just
riffs. We were kind of just like hashing it out. And then at that point, we had a song written, like kind of like a collection of riffs that kind of like weaved into each other.
Did it have a name?
And then it had a name. It was called Yoga Pants.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What was your
And
inspiration?
I think it was jeans.
yeah.
Yeah.
Denim,
Denim.
denim,
Denim.
the
Yeah.
concept of denim.
Denim.
Nice.
Yeah. The actual.
Do you think in today's climate the title yoga pants would fly?
No,
Yoga Pants?
Yo, give me them yoga
I don't
plants.
think it would. I don't think it would. No matter what the song is about, you can't call it.
But
that.
no, we would call it
Me neither.
Yoga Plants.
Probably.
That's perfect.
Oh, okay. You gotta up this
Oh.
here.
Yeah,
that is
we get more subtle. But so what happened was we got through that song, and then after that, during that whole time that like Adam was coming over here and there, because it wasn't like he was just full in like I'm coming over every day of the week. It was like I'm coming over once a week, and then wherever you would hang out, one of those places was Chris Nelson's house, who turned out to eventually be the drummer of what was the Spectral Type. So
Lanky
How I
ass
kind of-
boy.
yeah, and how we kind of came in like how kind of we all came in contact was Adam invited me over to Chris's house. You guys would jam some songs. I remember you would play like a guitar and you would sing while he was playing the drums, and you guys would kind of do that. And then there was a song that also another friend of mine who we were jamming with at the time, Jesse Cerritos, I was jamming with him. So we went over to Chris's house, and it was like, oh, we all know this one song. Well, it was through a trial of like, do you know the song? Oh, I don't know this song. Oh, that's too. You know this song? Yeah, let's try this song. And it was Flourish by the Contortionist, and then we all tried it out, and then it was awesome, like right off the bat, and then we were all like, oh, holy shit, this is pretty cool. And then
I don't think
that was kind of the beginning of how we all kind of had the chemistry. Sorry. Anyways,
no matter how many times I listened to you guys rehearse Flourish over and over and over, I never got bored of that song. Like I'll still listen to it today, and I'm like, dang, this shit's crazy.
yeah, never got bored of
dance.
playing it. Never
play
got bored
it
of playing it. It was just a good song, good solid song.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
play it again.
but it's been
Yeah, we should play it later.
Yeah.
That'd be a good time.
Yeah.
Anyway, more history.
Yeah. Yeah, take it away.
Well,
I'll pass the
oh well.
biograph.
Well, no, I was trying to prod you into because I feel like I don't know. I forget where we were.
Always getting
We were at a Yoga Pants jamming
Flourish.
with Chris, and then
Yes.
Flourish, and then the kind of moment before the first initial jam space, and then kind of growing the band as a wider entity.
Yeah, so we got a jam space and we grew the band as a wider entity.
Yep.
And, so yeah, your boy Flynn was involved.
Hey, guy.
he
I just kind of
and,
inserted myself as like, yeah, I want to scream stuff, yell,
fuck yeah,
like,
man.
yell out.
Ian
Ryan
just
Server,
attracts dudes who want to scream.
Yeah.
Hey, he screams.
got a
Yeah,
thing
bring
for
him on.
screamers.
Bring him on.
Is he a screamer?
Oh my God.
Bring him on.
And from our perspective, it's like, this guy's gonna give me some catharsis. This guy's gonna give me a way to yell. I know it. I know he's gonna like me yelling.
Look at those chords on him. Look at the chops in that boy.
Yeah. Can you just open up your throat a little bit more?
You should,
Have you ever listened to The Art of Screaming?
Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah, the zen of screaming is.
Oh, that.
Oh!
That's exactly it.
Let it fly. Let it fly.
So yeah, Flynn, was getting into music along with us, and Jared as well was over. Jared had basically only played guitar up to that point, and fell into the bass role. We started jamming with that lineup, and it was we got our with you and you on guitar, Jesse on other guitar, Chris on drums, the other and then the other three of us, and we got the four of us. Three of us.
We're
Yeah,
like a
three.
six-piece band.
I'm
Yeah,
so
we're
bad at
six-piece.
math. Okay, yeah, that's correct. For some reason, I thought that. Anyway, and then we got a little jam hall. Ian was surfing the web one day, and
You do
I
that?
came across a
Some sites.
hall for jam, and I remember we were talking about it by Chris's pool in the backyard,
Yeah.
and
Do you have the stack of line sixes then too?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
pretty tight.
it was
sick.
a music studio that we had a little spot above. We could, have our own space to make music and smoke our ganja and do bad things, but we couldn't.
We smoke outside.
We smoked outside except for that one hole.
What hole?
The hole.
Anyways, but
We're
yeah.
not incriminating ourselves.
So we had that place, and then things happened where we had to move to a different place. So we found this current place, which
This place?
is pretty close to around here. And so we were, and then we kind of all happened to grow and decay here as time went on for a repeated amount of time through different fluctuations of decay and growth. And
Yeah,
then,
it was definitely, from an outside perspective, a process of destruction and
Yeah.
rebuilding. And
There was a lot of there was some high points, there was a lot of lows, and then but it was all contained within the space. So what was weird was like it wasn't like anybody else was kind of like monitoring this. We were only really like measuring our own success, and when you're kind of doing it in your own like room, you start to go kind of like crazy with like what works and what doesn't work.
Sure.
And then you're not breaking out of this like shell that you've like put yourself into, and as you're putting yourself into the shell thickens, and the shell thickens even more, and the more disconnected you become from like outside opinion, and just like you start to realize that you just gotta like go for it in terms of like what being a band is all about, which is like making music, letting people listen to it in terms of like distributing your music and playing it live. And we were doing none of that. We were making the music, but it was all contained within here.
do you think not having
So-
internet here was the biggest factor? Like, there was just no convenient means to put it out other than like putting it on a drive and taking it home with you, or picking up your whole computer and taking it home with you?
In the moment, it was never like, oh man, we don't have the internet, otherwise we'd get our music out there. It was more like it was more just like
Oh, we have to rewrite everything.
it was just it was just like every day was a new day.
Yeah.
It kind of made that in terms of like the process.
Sure.
The process itself. It kind of made like that kind of getting it out there part a little bit out of reach, because it took this extra step of like putting it on a drive, going
Right.
home, or putting it on your phone and then like uploading it in a certain way.
And did you guys never just have that voice, that person that would be like, yo, just fucking put it out?
No, definitely a lot of voices out there, and but I feel like that shell that I'm talking about that's built up becomes things like making excuses and like all these different kinds of things. So when people are like, just do it, man, and then it becomes just fucking do it, and then it's like, but in a, in a slightly nicer way, but the more and more you just keep holding back, the more and more easier it is to hold back. You know, it's like when you start canceling plans.
Sure, yeah.
It's like so easy to start canceling plans just all the time once you start doing it, because it's like
minor accidents.
You know what, guys? I'm just gonna hit the road.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like when that sort of thing starts happening, and it becomes easier.
Yeah, it's like a snowball, and it gets out of control.
Yeah, but the thing is because like you're okay with like complacency in the people around you are, then that's when you go through you become kind of like a hive mind, and then you go through the ups and downs together. And then I kind of felt like when there was this like big lull before we kind of started meeting, before we even met Evan, or at least I did, that there was this kind of like a lull where we didn't really know what was going on, but we kind of held this place together. But we were all going through the ups and downs, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, is this thing gonna keep going? Like we don't even have the functioning members to play a show. We were out a drummer and then another guitarist. It was like a vocalist, a bassist, and a guitarist. It's like, how are you gonna put on a show like that? It's a little,
jank.
Yeah, yeah, you can put it that way. So then, I think at that
the Young Turks, Jank Uger.
Yeah, at that point it was just kind of we were all kind of riding that wave, and then we just decided we need that piece, and then that's where you came along. I know I kind of fast tracked it, but
no,
like
it's totally fine.
Yeah, kind of.
It's interesting how one person can kind of just like be the kingpin to fucking bind everything back together. That was kind of
well.
Yeah, Evan's very decisive and direct.
Yeah,
which is
sure.
Nice. Which is something we lacked.
Being a part of the shell, that's what was always necessary and needed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, and what you can see once you're on the outside afterwards, I could see that. Like, you need somebody who's just gonna be like,
yeah, this is.
Is it because do you think it's like from an outside perspective looking in? I've always looked at Evan and went like, it's probably because of all the sports that he fucking played. Like, this team mentality, like, yo, we work as a unit, where you guys are coming in and going like, oh, this is what I do really well, and this is what I do really well, and this is what I do really well. It was never like, this is what we can all do together really well.
Yeah.
Where Evan comes in and he's like, yo, this is what we're doing, and fucking do it. Or
and also, like, I don't know, I wanted everyone to, when they were here, to treat it like work, because, like, at that point, you don't really let relationships get in the way, because we're all working together to reach a common goal, which is write good music, right? Yeah. So it's like, when you're at work and you're trying to do something, if someone's like, oh, I don't really like that, but you are pretty sure you got to do it, you're not going to be like, oh, okay, we won't do that then. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so then, like, I wanted it to be, when we're within these four walls together, we're going to work, and like, you got to pull your weight, you got to be a contributing member, and you have to be open to criticism, and you have to be open to like direction, and say, like, I don't know, open to conversation about stuff, like,
yeah,
and sure. Like,
we never really communicated before this guy, before this fine fellow.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, oh, decision was made, okay, that's cool, I'm gonna contribute to it, okay, I guess that's it was just like taking any possible piece of a mental building block and then just trying to make it like stack and hold itself together, rather than being like, okay, well, this is obviously a bigger piece, so let's put it at the bottom.
Yeah.
It was more just like, okay, you have a piece, okay, let's just put it on top, and then it was...
Yeah, and this man came in and gave you guys a blueprint, is like, this is what we can build.
I think it's
slowly.
More like...
It doesn't have to be like chunk by chunk, like each of us going like, okay, this is what I have and this is what you have, how can we make that work? This man comes in and just went, we can make this work.
Well, like, I kind of listened to what they had recorded and was like, this is good, this isn't so good, this isn't good at all, this is good, this is pretty good, and then we like took those chunks, Ian and I, and then like arranged them in a way that made sense, made some like other parts to replace what we took out. I don't know, kind of screwed with some other stuff, messed with the structure a bit, but that's like how the EP was written, was just like some stuff, some like riffs and basically full songs that Ian and Adam and Jared had already written, and then I was just like, I don't know, cut the bullshit out of them that I thought was bullshit, and then these guys were like, oh, like, yeah, we didn't like that either and stuff. And I was like,
So why'd you
then why is it in here?
No,
Like, what are you guys doing? Like,
It's this thing called like I don't know what it's actually called, but like investment fallacy, where like you spend a bunch of time going in a certain direction or doing a certain thing, and then you basically, to justify keeping it, you just keep like telling yourself that it's got to be this kind of certain way because I've spent so much fucking time going in this direction, and then you never think of just like getting rid of it and doing something completely different.
Yeah, I think it's a tough but super important characteristic to have as any kind of artist, to just be able to like, cut your loss and go, oh, you know what, this piece of what I was making is actually kind of cancerous and affecting everything else. Let's just drop it.
yeah, like,
Exactly.
Even though you put like a lot of time into it and it does hold some sort of value to you, like I can see why it's tough to just be able to like drop a song or drop a chunk of a song or an idea or lyrics or whatever, what have you.
It's a gangrenous limb.
Yeah.
Cold meat,
Yeah.
fresh cut.
and like I honestly think that because of your guys' lack of, I don't know, communication.
Yeah.
Like, I think that that's what kept you guys here, is because, like, when you would go to, like, finalize a song, you guys would listen to what you had. None of you guys would be satisfied, like, with it, but also none of you guys would want to say anything about it. Mm-hmm. So then you'd be like, oh, well, we need to change some stuff, but no one would be specific because nobody wanted to step on anyone's toes. And then it's like, you went to finalize it, and it's like, well, none of us are satisfied, but none of us are going to say anything about it. So, like, where do you go from there? Like, that's definitely... And it was frustrating for everybody else that was keeping an eye on what you guys were doing. Like, I was like, the hell are these guys doing? They've been writing songs for so long, I haven't heard one of them. What the hell is that? Like, and like our dad would always chirp us too. He's like, if a band plays in their jam hall and nobody hears, are they even a band? He always used to say that to us, and it's so true. I was like, no, we're not.
Philosophy.
You're absolutely correct. We need to get the hell out of here. Like,
Yeah.
So when did you start moving into the Guitar Pro stuff?
Probably around when it was just kind of, it was for a little while. I was attempting to play drums for us half-heartedly for like 6 months.
that kit that we bought off
of Nate Collins.
Yeah.
Nate Collins sold us a cheap drum set.
like 110.
Shout out Nate.
I used to see Kevin Collins play the drums on that.
Yeah, we had that. We had that
crazy.
kit.
That's
We
so
got that
fucking
kit.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We bought that kit for those. So
we went and bought some used cymbals and shit, and like, I don't know, we could play like 5 covers and stuff, sort of, and like it was, it's not good, and I was better at programming drums, and so around that point, like I was getting kind of tired of how we would start by, Ian was the best at just sort of pulling interesting music out of nowhere on his instrument, and so he would start playing something cool, and Jared and I would start kind of giving him like interesting kind of vague suggestions that we both had an idea of, but not quite a specific one. Like I'd be like, make it sound more like a purple ghostly pirate ship, and like, and like
I'll get right on that.
I'd have something really specific in mind, but I couldn't describe it in any tangible musical terms, and so he would kind of put something down, and Jared would have an idea, and then I would have an idea, and then Ian would probably not be too hyped on any of it, and we would like record it and be like, well, this kind of sucks. And, so,
Hey Ian, do something with this.
Yeah, make it more these vague adjectives.
God, that sounds depressing.
Yeah, so it sucked. And
Like
so,
writing music based on a Mad Lib.
yeah, exactly. But without any of the fun, free expression, more just like, well, make it more like this element of the word, like too specific and terrible and torturous. So that sucked, and so I just started kind of making shit on Guitar Pro, because I remember Andrew West from Die Atlantic used to do that, and he had some really cool shit that he showed me, and they made a whole EP out of stuff that he wrote.
Did you look towards Guitar Pro as your creative outlet, since you weren't really getting it in this environment?
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
So
it's such a long process on that.
Yeah, it filled such a like a void though, because like as like a vocalist, I couldn't really contribute to anything because there was nothing ever finished enough. Because you don't want to like write vocals for like an early riff because like it'll probably change and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, Guitar Pro is like this way to just be baked at home and just sort of make some weird music while watching movies and stuff. And yeah, over the like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I've kind of gotten it to a point where I just finish everything I start and, you know, try to, I hate a lot of stuff for like 40% of the process of making it, and then eventually just be like, I have to make this not suck, and just like grind it into, you know, something adequate, and then eventually it's like really cool, and I kind of forget that I hated it, and
I think there's something to be said about being able to sit by yourself at home and making music like that, where the end product, you know, you're going to present it to your other bandmates, but in that moment it's just for you. Like there's like a rawness to it and like a truth to it, where if you're sitting with these guys, you might be trying to do something to impress them, or like something that appeals to them right off the bat.
You're splitting your brain 3 ways.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, just being able to sit by yourself and like work through your own musical thoughts and know what you think is bad. And when you're by yourself, you're much more likely to just cut a chunk out that you think is shit and not think twice about it, because you're the only one who worked on it, right? And then you can bring this product here, and to you it might be like what you think is perfect, right? And then they can jump on it and go, okay, we need to change this, this, and this, and make it work for all of us. I think it's kind of like the best way to write music. I mean,
not Guitar Pro, but
no, not. I'm not saying like with any specific piece of software. I mean, you could be fucking writing notation on a napkin, but I feel like that initial flare and spark, if you can pull that off like by yourself and then bring it to other people and have them judge it, it's like the best way to carve out like a beautiful statue from a slab, you know.
The best thing about Guitar Pro too is that you can do stuff that you'd never be able to play on an instrument normally, and like you can do stuff by accident. I do this all the time. I'll like
yes, he does.
I'll
he
paste
does this, Ian and I all the time.
Yes, I do. Yes, I'll paste something in wrong, and it'll sound fucked, and then I'll be like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's repeat that a bunch, and you know, make it a new time signature or something, and then just like these guys will make it into actual music, but like. It's you know,
so crazy. So you write such complex music, and then anytime Ian and I tried writing stuff on Guitar Pro, it would just be shit. It would be brutal.
But do you guys think?
15.
Do you guys think
he's to 17 years old?
This was when you were way younger.
I just write it by sound too, not
like 10 years ago.
I very rarely write it with like an instrument. Like, well, the instrument I use is my keyboard, so I'm always just figuring out like notes. If I have like a riff that'll pop into my head, I'll just figure that out.
It's just tonal. It doesn't have an instrument assigned to it while you're writing it.
Yeah, it's just like my head will go doodly doo doo, and I'll put a little doodly doo. I'll figure it out on the keyboard and plug it into a certain instrument, and then like, you know, fuck around with the drums and just make something that visually looks cool. It'd be like, oh, this is a group of like 5 with these ones punctuated. I'm gonna repeat that and then have it stop at this arbitrary time and do something else, and like just do little weird little arbitrary random spur of the moment things, and then like listen to them and see if they sound cool, change them up, and then just put a bunch of layers on and frig with it. And,
interesting. It sounds really similar to how I write my music at home. It's kind of like a mad science lab. Like I'm just like slapping shit together, and you're like, oh, it doesn't work, delete it. Oh, it doesn't work, delete it. Oh, that sounds really weird, but I don't know if I could physically ever play that. Guess I gotta learn how to physically play that.
Do you think you knew
you gotta get other people who can do it for you?
I feel like if I knew more theory, I would put myself into more of a box. And
really?
Yeah, I think so.
Weird. So I found once I started learning theory more that it kind of expanded my horizons.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah.
Kind of
it's like I thought that at first. I thought that exact same thing.
Know what rules you can break and know when just like cut it off.
Sure.
Because I think what you're thinking of is like once you learn it, you like lock yourself into a framework of like this is only what's right and what works. Whereas like, because I was watching this video yesterday of Guthrie Govan saying that he's like, I like to think of it as not like it's like not binary where it's like right and wrong. It's like there's a spectrum of rightness and wrongness that you can kind of like. So theory helps you like understand like how to really define like the spectrum, right?
True.
So I guess it's like that. Anyways,
and like
that's how I feel about it.
I know a bit of like I know mostly like rhythmic theory, but not I know the way the notes go this way, but not this way. So like lately, like the last 3 or 4 songs I've written have been just based on Adam Neely videos that he's put out lately, and just like, oh, that's a cool rhythmic concept. I'm gonna make a whole thing based around that, and just like you can take little. Or my favorite way to do it is to watch a movie that I want the vibe of. I want to steal the vibe from it, and take like a little bit of dialogue or something, or just like a piece of something, just a piece of like a rhythmic element of like the soundtrack or something, and just sort of spin it into something. Take some eerie chords or something and just sort of sprinkle them in, remember them wrong, and just sort of make this texture of like this overall vibe of like, oh, that kind of feels like that movie, sorta.
Is Adam Neely that drum cover dude?
Adam Neely is he's
a good guy.
The musical Vsauce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you shown Christian any of his videos recently?
I probably clicked on them by accident while I'm trying to test things in OBS.
Yeah, you've probably seen him.
Yeah, he does like really.
Oh, scroll down a tiny
cool
bit.
Musical concepts.
He's bald.
I can see the top of his hair. There he is. He's that guy.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, Adam Neely.
Hey.
Bullseye.
I can see the top.
He explains
of his
things
hair.
in a very simple way, but not really at the same time.
Yeah, it gets really deep.
Yeah.
Man, he's great. So yeah, it's it's stuff where it's like I know that there's a lot more theory to get out of this, but like just getting it leads me to believe that through learning theory, there's all these interesting doorways that you can sort of find if you like it's like getting into anything, I guess. It's like you can get as weird with it as you want.
Sure.
And,
So these guys, have they kind of handed off the duty of like a lot of writing to you, and then you create something and bring it back to them? Like is that what's going on, or?
For a lot of the new stuff, I guess, like our new album is
Right, because the Fire Supplier mixtape was like a collaborative, like real group effort. Like each person wrote their own parts. Like, is that how it worked?
more or less.
More or less.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
And then now, like going forward, so you guys have like the Bone Shaker single that came out.
Yeah.
That's
which is
an Adam Guitar Pro one.
Okay.
Based on the theme from Dirk Gently. There's like a 15-second piece of music that plays at the start of the Dirk Gently.
Oh yeah,
Detectives.
I can hear that in my mind's ears. Actually, I thought I was the only person in the world that actually watched that show.
It's a great show.
Yeah, it's really good.
Season 3, Netflix.
Hell
Season
yeah.
3. You got my extra dollars. Put it into Dirk Gently.
Weird
up?
plug, but okay.
Great plug. Great plug.
What process do you guys like the most? Like getting together and writing the music, or just
Whatever works, like whatever's the fastest.
Yeah, well, I think it's more or less like now having the two, like having experienced the two different kinds of writing styles, we kind of went from just like one to the other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like while we're kind of, taking these songs in that Adam's done, we're like Evan and I are kind of like hashing out all these other things. So now that having done the two, I feel like they all kind of have like their advantages and disadvantages.
Right. So are
whereas,
you guys like combining both methods now to get to
Yeah,
a final
kinda.
product?
Yeah, it's like Adam's idea, like his idea for like a theme and a story and how it's going to be told and like how you want to like what kind of picture it paints, I guess. Yeah.
Do you find that Adam brings to the table some really vivid ideas and like imagery? Because just from knowing him, he's a very expressive dude. He has a very colorful vocabulary and a very imaginative mind.
part of a lesbian?
Speaks to
Have you
the
ever got a
music.
text from him?
Yeah.
You guys are so sweet.
So
I'm like, hey man, what's up? And then like 30 minutes later, I get an essay about what's up.
You get
and
a
I was
fucking
like,
sonnet.
I was
Never mind.
30 minutes ago. Fuck.
But then
But
most
like,
of the
it's
time-
great though. I love it because it's exactly how you talk and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
90% of the time, though, I don't text people back because I'm an idiot, and I'm always like, I put pressure on myself to text like that for some reason, even though no one wants it.
I have.
I'm the
kinda have
worst.
the
I know
same
you like
I'm
problem.
the worst.
For
ever.
for
I'll
example,
just be
for
like,
people
"I'll
who
do it
aren't
later."
receiving texts from Adam ever in their life, I'll text this guy and be like, "Hey man, you want to like do something this weekend?" And it'll be like 3 days goes by, and then I get a text on like Saturday morning, and it's like, "Hello, Doth brother. I apologize for my transgressions. I would love to rendezvous this afternoon." And it just goes on and on. It's like, oh my god, like you could have just said no.
Once the
just not
moonlight
responded.
rests the sky, we can, rendezvous together.
But I love it because it's exactly who Adam is. Like,
Yeah, it's transparent.
No, but yeah, we do like you definitely do get a lot of that from the music. Like you can hear it for sure. And
well, like listening back to like even Bone Shaker today, and listening to just the lyrics that he put into it, it's like so personified as Adam.
Yep.
I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, like I'm like laughing to like parts that I'm listening to.
Thesaurus.com over here.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time on there. I will admit that I used thesaurus.com.
How does it feel?
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
cromulent.
some of the
Of course.
some of the greatest lyricists of all time have a dictionary and thesaurus on hand
Don't
all
talk
the
like
time.
that.
What do you mean? Don't talk.
I definitely have never used rhymezone.com.
Oh my god, rhymezone.com.
Rhymezone is the shit.
Yeah, every once in a while you'll just scroll through. Because, you know.
You're like, oh man,
every
it's
once
so
in a
good,
while,
it's so
just scroll
good.
through
It's like, I need
pages.
another word that rhymes with Ness, and then you go through and you see one, you're like, oh fuck, that's
Loch
perfect.
Ness.
Loch Ness is, oh my god.
Nice, man.
Thanks, man.
Loch
I
Ness.
tried.
Doc Ness.
That's it.
Guy.
Nice one, guy.
That's the next song.
So, how did Amos contribute to that song?
Oh yeah, famous Amos. He wrote the Zelda part, as I call it, at the
That's the vibe I got off of
And-
it immediately. Like
yeah.
when you guys dropped the song, I think I purchased it on like Bandcamp like in the morning.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Because it wasn't on Spotify. I think I messaged Evan. I was like,
Yeah.
"Is it on Spotify?" And he's like, "It's gonna come out. I just don't know when." I was like, "I gotta fucking buy it then, so I can listen to it or
Took
whatever."
your money
And it
back
was
like your
actually
brother.
on Spotify, and I lied to him.
So I was
No, buy it, though.
driving to work, and then it hits that like MIDI programmed or synthesizer part, and it sounds like it's just ripped straight out of The Legend of Zelda, basically,
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
puts you in like
came up with
a real fantasy mindset as soon as I heard that.
Yeah, because Amos wrote it in Guitar Pro, but like the tones that he used on Guitar Pro
Guitar
were
Pros.
really cool. So I don't know, was that the goal? Did we like try and replicate what he?
Yeah, kind of like, yeah.
Because like yeah,
The
like
tone of the synths definitely was trying to be somewhat replicated, but refined in the DAW that we're using to
Yeah.
record.
He also wrote the groove after it too, where it's like the main riff, but like with like a kind of a quarter note pulse over it rather than the 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. He drops it into 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4.
Yeah, it was
so
cool.
that's pretty fun.
It's one of my favorite parts. I think around the time when you guys had released it, Ian and I were here trying to set up some shit for the podcast, and I specifically made him put it on so I could show him that part and be like, "I love this part. I wish it just went on longer," or something like that.
That's the beauty of it. That's
Yeah.
what gets you to come back.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a good way.
It's just one of those
Definitely.
grooves where like you get into the song, you're like, "Yeah, this is fucking sick," and then you get to that part and you're like, "Whoa, this is fucking wild!"
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those little tasty maraschino cherries dropped on the top of the track.
People like
Amos is
maraschino
actually a
Sort of.
genius.
He is.
Fuck
Yeah, we had that reaction
So is
actually.
Amos.
Like I know I had that reaction when I heard it the first time, because I don't know. I don't really think any of us were fully satisfied with the way the song ended before that.
Yeah, it just started.
And then so he just kind of threw that on, and I had no idea what to expect because he peppered in some other synth parts like throughout the song. So I got here, and these guys had all heard it, and they're like, "Oh, check this out! Check out what Amos added." So I was listening to it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, these synth parts are dope." Whatever. And I had no idea what to expect, and I heard the thing at the end, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" But then like the way that it came in, like, because for me it's like I'm the only one that's playing anything different. Like the rest is the same as
Right.
the riff, like 100 times in the song. So like me hearing that, like it messed with my head because it had just been burned into my memory like how to play
Yeah.
the one way. So then it just like blew my mind, and I was like Amos was just like, I don't know, he just came out of nowhere and just made this song like something insane, like for all of
Yeah.
us. Like we were all so stoked on it after that. Like I don't know.
That's
like before
ridiculous.
that I was kind of like, fuck this song, like it's kind of hard, like I don't really want to learn it, like it was kind of pissing me off.
Well, we
And then,
talk
like, I
about
heard
this
that,
all
and I
the
was
time.
like,
Is like when you're writing music for yourself or for other people to listen to, but you're like listening to some shit on loop over and over and over again to get the engineering perfect. It's like by the time the song's done, you fucking hate it.
yeah, absolutely.
oh yeah, some of those songs drove us insane.
Like what?
What was the worst? Probably Raymond probably pissed me off the most. I don't know what it was about it, but just like something about that song.
Yeah.
Just like, I think it was probably due to the fact that we stayed up till like 7 a.m. Remember, we were leaving here and the sun was up.
Oh,
It was
those,
just
those
so
nights
stupid.
are the
Like,
worst.
it
They're
was
the best.
so
They're the
annoying.
best.
Like,
They're the best.
but they're
it
the
was
worst at the
hilarious,
same
and it was
time.
one of those ridiculous nights where it just gets to the point where everything is just so ridiculous, like no one can even talk because everyone's just pissing themselves laughing at absolutely nothing happening, like just ridiculous. But like, yeah, I don't know, that whole process is just, I don't know how Ian does it, like, because I can just get up and leave, and I'm just like, Ian will deal with it. It'll get mixed. He'll listen to it 1,000 more times.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I can't handle it anymore, but I'm getting the hell out of here.
It's
So,
funny
like-
that you say that, because through creating this podcast with Ian as well, it's sort of like that.
Yeah, he
Like,
hasn't
we
done
just
shit.
Patrick and I leave here and like leave some instructions for Ian,
Yeah.
and it's just like, you know that it's gonna get done, but I'm like, I need to go to
but I feel
bed,
so-
and Ian works at the same time as me, and he just like doesn't go to bed or some
Yeah.
shit.
I
Like,
feel so bad about
So
it though.
we
Like,
all owe Ian a very nice present
No.
someday.
oh hell yeah!
It's your company, guys.
that
Seriously.
Our
loser.
presence is the present.
But he also explained to me that he's like that type of person who can live off of like 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Oh, I thought you were
I'm
gonna
the
say
same.
Little
Freaks.
Caesar.
I need
Yeah,
8.
right now.
Yeah, I need an 8 or I'm just like having a breakdown.
I got like
the
3
next
hours
day.
of sleep last night.
Yeah.
Fuck.
how's
Oh, I
it
have
feel?
plenty of those.
I cannot do that.
Don't brag about it.
Okay, so you guys have Bone Shaker out. That came out like what, like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Ago?
Around end of November.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you working on now? Like what's
Well-
in the crock pot?
What is in your Crocs?
Come on. Patrick!
Meet me after recess, Patrick.
Yeah,
It's raining.
yeah, it's like camping.
Not quite, man. That's a little much.
Yo, it's raining.
Okay, is there something to tell?
We
Why are we doing this?
Bertie.
What's
What
happening?
are we doing?
Yeah, what are we
we're announcing
like-
that we're doing the new album.
Ow.
Yeah, no. Actually, we're gonna,
No, actually, we're not.
Yeah, we're not putting
Not
out any more.
anymore.
3 songs is enough. We're not
Okay.
putting out any more music
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
a band. We're gonna
Alright,
exist
see ya.
though. Ha
So anyway,
ha!
So, anyways, now, yeah, we're working on an album.
A full-length album?
A full-length album.
Cool. Does it have themes to it? Like what's the
Yeah.
whole shtick?
Ooh, Adam,
us
take
the
it away.
shtick.
Adam,
Got
do
this.
tell,
Give us
Adam.
the shtick, boy.
It's a big stupid concept album. Yeah.
Super ambitious.
Yeah, I wanted to call it the Super Ambitious Concept or Super Ambitious Concept Album by Danger Like.
Evan doesn't
But,
seem too
but
happy about that.
no one else
Nah.
wants to call it
I
that.
love
Kinda
that.
cheesy.
He loves that. See, people love it.
Dude, that's so funny.
I thought it's super funny because, like, you know, we have our Fire Supply
Wait,
mixtape.
okay,
and then Super
you guys
Ambitious-
already
else
have one of the most original names for a metal group. Why not just pull it fucking full stop on everything else?
what
You know?
I'm saying.
Do you guys want to be just another plural and have some album come out called like Geometric Patterns
No,
or some ridiculous
no,
bullshit like that?
There's a line. There's a line.
But
there's a
you
fine
know,
line.
because we
But
still
you
want to
don't
stay
wanna be a-
we still want to stay goofy. We still want to be idiots.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's a line. But the result of the name that
Like
he
to me,
will-
that sounds like a Sum 41 record
That's not good.
or like a Blink 182 record.
But like, I don't know. I think that. Well, I don't know. Just from my opinion, like when I heard that, I was like, if I heard some band was like, I don't know, releasing an album called that, there's not a chance in France I'm listening to it.
I
Really?
think
Yeah.
I would love that.
There's not a chance in France that's ever touching my Spotify.
That's crazy because I would
So,
listen to that right off the
I
bat.
would like that. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Like,
But maybe
I probably
I'm just so overwhelmed
See,
in
there's
records
different
that are called like,
opinions. It's, like, pretty
Ascension, The Dive. Like,
Yeah.
just,
No,
like,
but, like-
what the fuck does that all
but
mean?
that's
I
way
agree
over
with you,
here,
though.
and
I
then
agree.
Super Ambitious Concept Album is over here, and like I like this side more, but not this extreme.
Okay, what's
I
the
like-
middle?
Oh, it's
What's
like-
the
Like,
middle?
I don't like the middle.
It's just like politics.
it's
right?
still leaned over towards
Yeah.
it's
The
still
one-
leaned over like
goofy
it's
side?
yeah it's still like
The one that they
stays in the region at all times. Basically.
Oh, should we?
So
Should we
just
say what it's
instead
called
of
then?
Super
Let's say what
Ambitious
it's called.
Should we
Concept
just say
Record,
what
it's
it's
just
called?
Ambitious
the one
Concept
No.
the
Record.
one they
Why don't you
like
just
the
drop
one-
it on
yeah,
us?
the one they like is Death's Rebirth's Redeath, which was gonna be
Okay,
sometime,
okay.
but
I
it's
follow you
pretty-
guys.
It's pretty neat. But I personally still like Super Ambitious Concept album. But
I'm with you, Adam. I'll be totally
fair enough,
honest.
thank you.
But the
Yeah.
other name, I get it. It's still funny.
They're
It's
bigger-
still goofy.
They're bigger than me. So,
Yeah, we're gonna beat you up.
Out muscle him.
yeah.
Ian is pretty
So what's the
aggressive.
concept? Do you have the concept down, or
Yeah, so,
is Bone Shaker going to be on that record?
It's the
Yes.
second song.
Okay.
Sir.
So, the concept, more or less, is about our protagonist, who's some person who kind of, you know, as they're drifting off to sleep, gets sort of pulled into some sort of state of DMT consciousness, hurtling towards this infinite light where they're surrounded by fractalized shards of their memories and blah blah blah, and the motherfucking.
Oh, so it's like a Joe Rogan monologue.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. So, but they they meet a DMT being. That's going to be the third song, and who shows them how to like sort of reassemble their life and their experiences and the things that made them as a person, and to like look at them from all perspectives and to basically kind of transcend and become fully enlightened and at peace with their entire experience as a human. And along the way, though, this person becomes kind of petty and sort of starts listening to these other spirits that start kind of pushing them in directions of like self-serving sort of reconstructions of certain things. And that is how you shoehorn a breakup song into a concept album. So, because that's what Folk Hell is, and that was the first song of my Guitar Pro shit that we decided to actually make into a real song. So, and then basically the arc, though, basically it gets worse and worse and worse, and they become darker and darker with the power that they use over their own experiences in this like fourth dimension, whatever the fuck. Blah blah blah, cromulence, ascension, and then so they think that they're hurtling towards this light of ascension. We'll stay with the whole time, but really they're being pulled towards this other star, Algol, which is this thing. It's a real star, and it's in a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft stuff. And the song Algol is like entirely stitched together of like H.P. Lovecraft references and little things like that. And and then at the very end, the DMT-ish being from the start kind of plucks them out of the pull of the evil influence and gives them another chance. But I'm not really sure yet exactly how they come to this decision, but they decide that they're not worthy of it, and they sort of choose to stay in the limbo state and sort of, But that last song is kind of based on elements from the first song and all that kind of shit. And, there's a bunch of interwoven whateverness, and, it's a whole thing. Ugh.
Sounds fucking awesome.
Ugh.
Now, are you guys prepared to get into the concept record, realize it's extremely difficult to make a concept record and break the songs down and just make a standard record with some of those songs? Because it has happened to some of the greatest bands of all time, where they have this grandiose idea and they get into it and they just realize like it's too much, or it's not within their capabilities to complete such a massive idea like that. Like, or do you guys think like you're gonna be able to bang it out?
I think we'll be able to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's all written pretty much.
Yeah, it's already done.
It's all
okay.
from Guitar Pro songs.
Yeah, because I know there's like
take what's already
circumstances
made
where like Billy Corgan of like the Smashing Pumpkins was writing I believe the record's called Machines of Gods. And that was supposed to be a concept record about a similar situation. Like, this dude has a spiritual awakening, and he's like propelled into outer space with his love, and he like meets these gods, and the gods are grooming him to make the greatest record of all time, and then like return back
Grooming
to
him?
Yeah, they're teaching him.
Like Drake does.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable. Go
Sending
figure.
him back with a nice land.
There's a god in space that's like teaching him how to make the greatest record and return to Earth and give it to the people so they can like learn to sort their shit out. And it was like this really cool concept, and like they got to work on like a bunch of the songs for it, but nearing the end, it was kind of like a George R.R. Martin scenario where it was like, I've made this thing so grandiose and massive that I can't like tie it at the very end and like make it complete. So they ended up having to like break some of the songs down, and they got like shipped out to like other albums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
Makes
don't go
sense.
and try.
But it's definitely like an admirable endeavor to like try to make a concept record that's so complex.
We were talking about potentially doing it in 2 parts.
Possible, yeah.
Because like it is like, I don't know, especially when we're doing everything ourselves, like the recording and the mixing and all that stuff. Like the process is super long. So pumping out like 14 or 15 songs at once, like it might be a bit absurd.
That's a lot for
but
you
like
guys.
if we could put out like 6 or 7,
sure,
and then put out another,
it'll also just juice the most amount of listens like for per
Yeah.
like song,
Right.
like because like I like as much as the whole piece is cool, 2-part also works, but at the same time it's like you do want the album to be fully like soaked in, right? Like as much as it can be, especially if it's based around a story.
Definitely.
You want to know what the hell's going on, and you know, you kind of just like.
But stories can be told in 2 parts. Like there's.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
Like yeah, we could make some sort of reasonable cliffhanger spot and drop it off
exactly.
and continue.
Yeah, it's possible.
Well, it sounds awesome.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun to work on so far, for sure.
Yeah, it's been cool to take Adam's ideas from Guitar Pro
and make sense
and then just kind of
make them into real music.
Yeah, make them into songs with like these instruments, and you know, it's cool because we hear them instrumental through Guitar Pro, and then to have the songs come to life and then have Adam put his vocals on, it's like this whole other surprise to us, because that idea has been in his head the whole time.
No, it hasn't.
Well, I mean, it's like you have an idea
You're not
of like
to
how
tell them that.
You have an idea.
You're supposed to pull the Maynard.
It's a whole extra fucking time consuming.
I assume there's some like idea of like how dynamics and you want things to get big and whatever. So, yeah. So like, I feel like.
You're the wrong guy.
Yeah, I feel like it would. I forget what I'm talking about.
Vocals.
Yeah.
Making songs.
Yeah, something like that.
Do you enjoy playing as a 3-piece live?
Oh, they have some?
You should. It's alright.
Yeah,
What are
playing
some of the
3-piece live is like
difficulties,
it gets the job. It's enough to get the job done, but with other members would probably be a lot.
They would.
We have 4 questions from Instagram.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, PK, did you want to ask these guys any more questions before they dive into their social meds?
Well,
what are you gonna say?
We were gonna say something.
What were you gonna say?
You were talking about the live process and how it's like, how is it being in a 3-piece, and we were like, it's enough to get the job done, but because of how much is going on in the music that we play, there is a lot of like compensation for the lack of members. So having more members on board, you know, would make the whole playing process a lot more enjoyable, and also just like having the dynamic of like, you know, communicating musically with like other peers is like really cool. So I wonder what that would be like.
Yeah, what would it be like to have more than 3 members in this band?
It'd be weird to, can you imagine like even a 5-piece?
Yeah.
Yeah, what if we had just 2 more guys?
2 more members. That'd be so weird.
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
2
Do you guys
more.
think we should maybe get 2 more members?
Yeah, maybe.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
too bad if you said no, because we already did.
Yeah.
You should get a piano player.
I thought we weren't.
But that's
What? No, yeah, we did, but there will be more
You guys will find out
details.
who those members are.
Yeah, there will be more details to follow.
in the coming years.
There's a nondescript surprise. I wonder what it could be about.
How about those questions?
Those Instagram questions.
Yeah,
Alright,
these
we
fellas
have
got some
4
Instagram
we got 4
questions.
questions from Instagram.
How
4, count it!
How instant?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, we got 5 questions from Instagram.
5!
Single gram.
Cinco.
I feel like we're like T-Vangelica.
Of course. Evangelica.
What are they
All right.
called? The pastors.
This one's from our good pal Issa.
Oh,
He says, and he's trying to stir the pot here, Issa.
Yo, stir
I don't
that shit,
appreciate that.
You don't appreciate.
He's saying,
Chase.
who's the best rapper in KW?
Oh.
Probably Christian. Like,
Yeah.
Michaels.
Steve Spiros.
Easy going.
Yeah, Steve
Yeah.
Spiros. That's my answer.
Steve Spiros for sure.
Kid Horny.
Yep.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
Look him up.
Steve Spiros. Yeah,
Steve
shout out
Spiros.
to
Easy
Steve
going?
Spiros. He's not gonna
Shout
raise
out,
his voice.
Yeah.
Child the rapper.
Yeah. Actually,
Okay.
did you guys peep that song Tyler put out the other day?
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Dang,
good. Very
super good.
See, now the existence of Tyler and Nick is why we didn't answer this question properly.
Yes.
We have two frame rappers.
Oh,
We're very
I'll
close.
answer it
We're
properly.
very
So
close.
there's these 2 dudes
Very
I've been
close.
following for a little while.
Can't decide between.
They go under, at least on Instagram, they go under Cypher Sites, and it's a duo, and they're both like pretty great lyricists, and they've been like touring like a lot of Canada recently.
They're from Kitchener?
They're from the Tri-Cities.
Unbelievable.
I don't know if they're from
figure.
Kitchener-Waterloo, but they're from the Tri-Cities. I know that for sure.
Unbelievable.
Guelph.
It could
Next
be
question.
Guelph, yeah.
Next question from Dana. Could you all just do a collective O?
Oh, shit.
But there's a second part, so we'll do that first.
Okay.
One.
You want to count it in?
So
Two.
Flynn's got
Probably
it.
count down from 3.
Okay. 3, 2,
Oh!
1.
Oh! All right. Now, what's your goal this year musically?
what's the goal? What's our goal musically?
What's the skull?
Skull.
I
and
think
like chewing
if we want to
tobacco.
go each have our own, I'll start because I've already been trying to get into it. It's just kind of like expanding my music vocabulary, like on the guitar, being able to like know what I'm playing and know if I want to like get into a different style or be inspired by something else. I can kind of like communicate that on the guitar a lot more easily, whereas before I was using my ear was building, but now it's more like, oh, now I know what the terms mean, now I know that these familiar shapes all have names. And
You're right, your ear does look a little swollen.
Do you think you'll start investing in
chop it off
better equipment like mic arms and stuff?
no, I was thinking
Scorched.
they're the best.
Okay, guy. Whatever.
Next question. No, just
No, it's Adam's goals.
I know.
Hashtag.
Anything that'll make a soccer announcer yell the word goal. Just to pull that off.
So you just have to score a goal in a nationally televised soccer game?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do musically? All right.
No, I threw once.
All right.
Fall off the stage drunk.
Yes. Again. No, I haven't done that yet. I've almost done it. But finish the goddamn lyrics for this album. Because
How far along are you?
I'm 4.5 out of 14.
Do you have a line that's your favorite so far?
Didn't make
Oh yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I was.
That's not mine. That's Michael Bolton.
Oh.
Michael Bolton featuring the Lonely Island, or the other way around. It's the one that Alan over here remembered at one point. Oh fuck, what was it? Maybe I get carried away. Maybe I like it that way. I had to Google it.
There we go.
After he remembered it, I was like, it has to be from something else. And so I Googled it in quotes and scoured the internet. It's not in anything. So
I do enjoy that line a lot. It stands out a lot to me.
Thank you. So yeah, to finish the goddamn lyrics and to grow as a non-metal songwriter still. I started to make stuff on GarageBand, believe it or not. With cool
Whoa!
It's
Bust out
Stepping
the.
up
it's
your
been
game.
fun. And I record real guitar for it. I've never recorded any
Yeah,
of my
it's
own
dope.
real guitar for anything
Yeah,
original.
there's some songs you wrote that were pretty dirty.
So I'm gonna keep doing that, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to get YouTube going. Get my YouTube game on.
Shit, I
Are
want
you gonna become a drum cover dude? You met some drum cover dude, did you not?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Luke Holland after they played a
Oh
show.
right, okay,
It was
yeah,
just
yeah.
like a, yo, what's up?
Did you
Yo.
kiss him?
No, actually I didn't.
Yeah,
You would have gained some of his powers if you did, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So next question is,
Well, like even listening to you, like when we were listening to some music earlier, and you're just kind of like jamming along to it, it was like hell yeah. You
Yeah,
totally
dude.
have a.
it's
I
fun.
can see
Like,
you,
I enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's a
you
lot
just
of
like
fun.
pick it up right
I
away.
just gotta set up the mics and crack the whip on Ian and
Set
make
up
him
the
do all the other
Michael.
Yeah, it gets
heavy
weird
lifting
in
for me.
here.
All right, next question is, what's Big Chungus?
Oh, Big
way
Chungus for
of life.
PS4.
It's a way of life, yeah.
It's a video game. It's really
Big
good. You guys
Chungus.
should check it out. Shout out to Big Chungus.
Pre-order it.
Why don't you
before
tell
Christmas.
us a little bit about it? A little bit about it.
Big Chungus?
It's like
Chungus.
Chungus, but bigger.
Yeah.
How-
Just
how
like a
much
larger
bigger?
Chungus.
Yeah.
How much larger?
Much.
Well, it's pretty big.
40%.
It's
But how
much.
much?
30 to
big?
40%
It's
larger.
similar
than
to like a
normal Chungus.
heckin' chonker.
Yeah,
Heckin'?
a heckin' chunk.
Yeah,
of
it's just a
Chungus.
big Chungus.
Okay.
It's a
Okay,
heckin' chunk
I'm
of
not
Chungus.
sure I'm familiar with any of these.
Next question from Jordan is, why is Evan in the CIA?
Why don't you say
It's because I'm well dressed and trustworthy.
it? Really?
I don't know.
I don't even have slippers that fit.
Trustworthy.
I'm trustworthy and
I
well dressed.
signed the hell out of an NDA.
Oh, absolutely. And then the last question from Devin is, what does a silver lining to a mushroom cloud look like?
Something personally offensive. Right back at you, gotcha. Nah, I'm just joshing around. That's a little reference to a 6 Hands of Glory lyric. It looks like when a nuke goes off, but it wipes you out too, because you don't have to be emo anymore. That's silver lining.
Yikes.
Yikes.
So that's what that meant. Okay.
I can see why you
No,
wiped the
that's
existence
deep
of sick
shit.
transit off the internet.
Dude, I'm kind
Wow.
of pissed off that they're off the internet. I
Actually,
can't find them anywhere.
you want-
Dude,
you want
I
some
had to
insight?
go through all your other bandmates to try to find some music.
Oh shit.
So
I have
we were
some.
gonna play
I
some.
have some.
I have it right here.
Well, maybe if you would watch the Discord, you would know I was after that music.
Do you want some insight though?
Yeah.
That song, bringing it back to fucking Adam Revenge, that song is written from the perspective of the desire in someone to get revenge. It's written from that little voice being like, fucking do it, that person deserves it, you know? So that is, one of the first lines in that song is, they call me revenge, relentless and brutal. Cool, something. Resistance is futile, Star Trek reference. Nice. And yeah, so then, Silver Lining of this Mushroom Cloud is like that voice being like, there's a good side to all this destruction. It's that you get to feel right. And so,
was everything
there you
recorded
go,
at Small Dog Studios?
No, it was, that EP was recorded, it was just Pools Are Perfect for Holding Water that was recorded there. And then that EP of 3 songs was recorded in Sam Hellifer's mom's basement.
How many songs did you put up on your MySpace?
3 or 4. 4, I think.
You dropped those all at the same time?
It was just the one single, and then like a year or 2 later, we put out the EP like right after we broke up. We like finished it after deciding not to be a band anymore, basically. And then yeah.
Because I remember when you dropped that single, like it was pretty impressive. It's like nobody in this town was really.
Pools Perfect for Holding Water.
Yeah,
or are you sure it wasn't 98 Ain't So Brand New?
Yeah, 1998 Ain't So Brand New.
I don't know, but it was just like the one track that you guys released on its own. I think.
Might have been that one. That was the only one that was on YouTube for a while. Could have been that one.
Or have you never seen The Good Green?
Oh,
yeah, I'm a big stan.
Well, I know what that means now. Thank you.
But like that was pretty impressive because there was nobody really around here that was pulling off that kind of music.
Yeah, there was definitely one track, and I thought it was Pools as well. That was like really dope to me.
Yeah,
man,
but
I was trying to be Holly Sykes on their first album so hard with the.
I never heard of you guys playing any live shows or anything, so I just didn't even bother listening.
Were you not at Reds?
I was.
Not often.
Half the time.
You go to Red Stock after hours.
All right, you guys want to wrap it up?
Certainly.
Cool. Do you have anything you want to ask them before we duck out?
Why are you guys so great?
It's because of you.
Thanks, man.
That all came from you.
That. I know.
Oh, yeah.
I really mean that.
There's one thing that we shouldn't forget to do, though.
What's that?
Fist that bell! Fist the bell!
Fist that bell.
Yeah.
Fist that bell.
Vestibule.
Is there anything that Danger Liker would like to plug?
Gordon Ramsay's going to be on Hot Ones soon.
Yes, I'm actually really excited. I believe he's going on the 28th.
Fuck yeah, they're going to do a deep dive on his Instagram. Find some
Look at you, you
more
king.
Context. You king.
Oh, dude, don't.
I love Sean Evans so much. I love him.
Yeah, hit up Danger Liker on their Instagram. Follow them on their Bandcamp. Check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, all that shit. Follow us on our Instagram. Maybe next week, for you loyal listeners and shit, we're going to do a little questionnaire and shout-out round. So keep your eye out for an Instagram story that you can have the option to reply to. And I'll say, hey, guy, how's it going?
Ian buys shitty gear.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
Peace.
Thank you. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.